Hey, this is Josh Thompson. Thanks again for listening. If this content is encouraging to you, it would mean the world to us if you would rate the podcast. Your rating will help more people find the show. You can also journey with us by subscribing to our channel. And if you share it on social media, please feel free to tag me and our guests. We appreciate when you share this podcast with those you know. We are believing it will continue to stoke the fire in people again. Special thank you to Landmark Coffee Roasters, a sponsor for this podcast. If you haven't tasted their coffee, you got to go check it out. They got the best beans in Southern California. Go to landmarkroasters.com. Type in promo code Stoke House to get 20% off. That's landmarkroasters.com. Special thank you to Ola Canvas, a sponsor for this podcast. They build super durable, high-quality clothing out of Costa Mesa, California. Ola Canvas is a small business of creators making some of my favorite clothing and products on the planet because they take time to build each piece and make it with high-quality material. Check them out at olacanvas.com. That's O-L-A canvas.com. Welcome to the Stoke House. Time to get fired up. Yee! Ladies and gentlemen, Raymond Wang in the Stoke House. Ray, you are a businessman, currently working in consulting and have a pretty amazing career in the corporate world. Praise God. You're also part of our leadership team here at Legacy. You serve as a faithful deacon. Ray, you are one of my favorite brothers. And one of my favorite things about you, in your words, is you are always following the breadcrumbs of God, searching in each day to find the gold and fingerprints of the Lord in your life. You've been a treasure of encouragement to me and the Legacy family. One of my favorite things about you is your optimistic focus, your adventurous spirit, your passion for the kingdom of God and His Word. You, Ray, have probably traveled more interesting places than anyone else that I know in the world. And every time you go, I wish I could hide in your suitcase. I want to go too. Your journal is a sight to see. Thousands of words very tightly pressed together, documenting a manuscript of the details of God's work in your life.
Yes.
Your attention to detail and watching the plans of God unfold in your life is inspiring. One of the coolest things I got to be a part of was watching you find your bride.
Oh, yeah.
Carol. Shout out to Carol.
Praise God.
And I got to watch you get married and start an adventure of life together with her. And a lot of people don't know this, but you are probably one of our top listeners of the Stoke House. And you just told me before the show started, you've listened to every single episode. Let's go!
All 70.
You give me feedback on the show so often. And so, of course, I couldn't wait to have you on. Ray, my brother, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Love it. Watched every 70 episode every week, so huge fan.
Dude. And now you're in the Stoke House.
It's surreal. It's this background right here.
Yeah.
This is
the
it.
picture shots. Keats. Ray Wang in the Stoke House.
Yeah.
No, you've really, I appreciate that you're inside the church and you're listening at such a deep level and your attention to focus and detail, because I want to know how it's going. I want to know if we're doing all right. And it's inspiring, as you encourage us and you point out details in a show that I didn't hear, I was working through, or we get to commune on, something that
Yes.
I both enjoyed too, and you're just like, yeah, it was so cool when so-and-so, and they said that and this and this and their story. And so it's awesome to see that it's been inspiring.
For sure. Not every time, almost every time you have a host on, you're talking about, give me the gold, the nuggets of gold that you slide across the table. I'm the same way when I'm listening. And every week there's some piece of gold that I'm hoping to get. So
yeah, there's so much treasure to be found. There's so much hidden between the lines of what people are saying too,
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping, is that as people tune in, I feel like they're sitting at the table with us, having a cup of coffee, just enjoying a cool conversation. And man, Ray, I've been waiting for this one. I've been watching the dates go by, so super happy to have you on, man.
Yeah, it's an honor.
So Ray, you grew up here in LA?
Here in LA, yeah. Grew up right here in San Gabriel, suburbs of LA. Didn't go very far. I thought, grew up. I have an older brother, a younger sister, and kind of grew up with the whole Christian thing, but not really a believer. Actually, in college, I was as far away from God as you can probably get. And I came to God on my way down. I got to know Him real well during the trials of life.
Yeah, He showed up in the valley.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
So did you grow up public school? Were you private school or you homeschooled?
Yeah. Went to a private Christian school
No
for
way.
elementary school.
No way. I didn't know that.
Elementary school.
Okay.
And then I went to a public school, middle school, high school, UC Riverside for college.
You know, what denomination was it for school for your Christian?
I don't know. Yeah,
Was it a good experience or a bad experience?
it was. I don't remember too much from my childhood.
Yeah.
So, but it was. I remember fond memories. So
And then you transitioned into public school and junior high,
in middle school, yeah,
middle school.
yeah.
Any sports, hobbies, activities?
Yes. So I grew up playing baseball.
Really?
Yes.
What position?
Pitcher. I was
Really?
left-handed. So
What?
back then, that was a huge thing.
You're a lefty.
Yeah, lefty. So I grew up, my first memory is with a baseball,
Really?
baseball glove. So yeah, I mean, my dad, and honestly, like, I didn't really like baseball as a
Yeah,
kid.
got it.
Because it was training. It wasn't like a thing to do for fun.
Uh-huh.
It was, this is what you're doing. And you're going to work at it. So I actually kind of dreaded baseball.
Right.
Just because if there was daylight out and my dad was home, we were practicing.
Oh,
And it was like a boot camp.
like you were going pro.
Yeah, like there was
his mind.
no option. Like even if I wasn't going pro, I was playing baseball. So like
I mean, how many teams do you think you played on like throughout your young years?
it was just little league.
Yeah.
Didn't have the money or the time for like club ball
Yeah.
or private lessons.
Yeah.
Didn't really know too much about like taking care of. So I got injured before I hit high school. So blew out my elbow, pitcher's elbow in middle school
way.
before
Wow.
I even got into high school. So yeah, it was over before it started.
Did you have any wild pitches? Like were you throwing a screwball or anything? Were you doing anything wild?
Fastball, changeup, curveball. The
Nice,
basics.
nice. So, but nevertheless, I mean, did you feel like the team sport, the discipline kind of impacted your life?
Oh yeah, definitely changed everything. So I grew up super undisciplined, and baseball practice really forced me into, even if I'm not feeling it, doesn't matter, going out practicing. So yeah, but that kind of rigor was it was hard. It was hard growing up as a child because I would watch families around me have normal families. My family's definitely not normal in the traditional sense. Basically, dad was always working, mom wasn't around, grandma raised us. So my dad was around, and he was just working. He's a hard worker, devoted his life to providing.
His industry?
He owns and manages a bunch of properties.
Got it.
So started a couple businesses.
Yeah. So he's an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of that instilled in me. I remember just watching him leave early in the morning, not come home till late at night. When he was home, like we were practicing. So it was I was kind of walking on eggshells.
I see.
Growing up.
So yeah, it's that sounds like, baseball with dad is supposed to be like this enjoyable experience. It's like, let's go take the mitts out. Let's go throw the ball back and forth, son. Let's talk about life, whatever. But it wasn't this. It was, these are probably drills, huh?
Yeah. Drills. Like you will work. Even if you're not the best, you're going to outwork everyone. So, which is great, like a great life lesson.
Yes.
Really set the foundation for my adult life, actually.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was going to say, because that's kind of, it's interesting that was a negative as a child, but a negative in the experience with your dad, and it put a negative, a bitter taste towards baseball and sports and the whole thing, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's pretty cool to see God redeem some of that. And I can really say that Ray is probably one of the hardest workers I know. I mean, this guy will outwork a lot of people, and it's afforded you a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Carol, my wife, tells me that she's surprised that I don't love baseball. I'm not like a sports fanatic. Just like I associate it with many, many hours of drills and practice and hardship, actually. But again, God redeems it all. So.
Yes. Yeah. And then what number are you in the order of kids?
I'm in the middle.
You're middle.
Middle child.
Middle child, Ray. Yes. Wow. Interesting. An older brother, younger sister, right?
Yeah, we're all 2 years apart.
Everybody here in town?
No, brothers in the Navy,
Navy. Wow.
Florida or
Okay.
somewhere out there.
Yep.
Sister's around.
Okay. Yeah, she's great. Shout out.
She just had a baby in January.
Yay! She's the best, man. Yeah, that little babe.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So cool.
Crazy story.
You were an uncle.
Yeah, that's surreal.
Yeah, it's an exciting moment, and we prayed, and it's beautiful to see what God has done and what He will continue to do.
Yeah, for sure. God is
So junior high, high school. Are you Are you completely running away from God at this point already? Is it kind of a home being a lot of turmoil in the home, causing you just to run into the world and do your thing?
For sure. Yeah. So not a lot of. I remember as a kid, I would watch Christmas movies, and I would just imagine what it would be like to be part of one of those families, having those. So, because I was and I fought all the time with my younger sister, older brother. We were not close at all. But that kind of forced me into like my friendships. So I spent a lot of time at my friend's house, and those are my brothers. You're at my wedding. All my groomsmen are the kids that I grew up with. And yeah, they're as brothers to me as my own brother and my own sister are. So very close friendships, family for life, type relationships. So again, another example of like these, through the hardships, through the ashes, God brings about beauty. So
yeah, He has a way of, He has a way of redeeming and using kind of the brokenness and the pain of our childhood, and does turn it beautiful later on.
Yeah.
And one of those things is, when you're kind of a lost boy, as we'll call it, where you feel like you don't have the complete family. I felt the same way too. My mom passed when I was young, and so grandma basically raised us, and my dad was gone truck driving. He loved us, but he was just gone a lot,
For sure.
And so we're just running around on the streets, playing, with everybody on the street and integrating into other people's families,
Oh yeah.
trying to find family,
Yes.
And it's amazing how that affords you a personality in which you have a keen ability to connect with a lot of people very quickly, and you feel warm even to strangers, and I don't think that can happen. I think it can happen, but it happens a lot more for those kids in which maybe they didn't have a solid foundation growing up, because they learn the streets very quickly and how to integrate into families.
Yeah.
Definitely see it in you, Ray.
Yeah, actually, growing up as a kid, I was very shy.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Could not talk to strangers. My immediate friend group, I could be myself with, but anyone outside of that I didn't know was very, very hard for me to talk to people, look at people in the eye and talk to them and get to know them. It wasn't until I went to college that I kind of broke out of that. And that was something, again, I had to force discipline. I went to UC Riverside.
Yes, UCR. Let's go.
Yes, Highlanders. I
know it very well.
Yes. I love UCR. A lot of the people that I went there with really didn't like UCR, but I'm loyal. So
Yeah,
I'm a Highlander.
It's a great campus.
It's beautiful. It's awesome. But yeah, growing up while I was there, I was. Let's see, where should I start with this? So I did sports, got injured before, so I kind of held on to if I'm still going to do baseball. So just held on all the way through high school.
Oh, wow. You played for the high school team?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was good enough, even injured, as a freshman. I was on the varsity team. But again, injured, a fraction of what I was at.
Were you pitching in high school?
Yeah. But
what was your forte? Was it more technique, or did you have a fastball?
Fastball and curveball,
nice.
lefty. At the time, it was rare.
Right.
And now everyone's a lefty that throws, and starters are throwing, 100 miles an hour. So it's different levels.
Right.
I wouldn't have made it anyway. But
Got it. That carried you through.
Yeah, and it was actually a huge crutch. So it took me until I went to PCC, Pasadena City College. So because I graduated high school not knowing what college I'd go to. I just never thought about it because in my mind, I was always going to do baseball, whatever that was. And then I found myself graduating high school and, oh, wait, now what do I do?
I see.
I don't have the grades for, college.
Wow.
So found myself at PCC, played on the PCC baseball team.
You did?
The Lancers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, even I wasn't pitching at the time, but again, had the fundamentals to be like
Sure.
an outfielder or
Yeah.
something. So, but yeah, held on. Like, this is just me. Like, my dream died in middle school when I got injured, but I was holding on to it. And I remember it so vividly. I was walking through the campus at PCC, right outside the library, and it's like a light bulb hit me. And all of a sudden, I realized my baseball career is over, and I need to find something else. It wasn't until that moment where I literally, in my mind, had to die to that identity. And then at the time, I didn't work as a kid, so I had no job experience. I didn't know what a resume was.
Wow.
Yeah, I found myself at the Career Center at PCC asking in a workshop, like, all right, on my resume, I got my name, my address, a really goofy Yahoo email address. Like, my resume could fit on a little page, like a small little sticky note.
Yeah.
And yeah, just trying to find a job, just trying to find something. Again, in high school, horrible student. I was an athlete, so like I just did sports, played video games in my free time at night, and hang
What
out.
was your choice game?
StarCraft, Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. Let's go. We used to go to the what are the LAN cafes?
Oh yes.
And we used to go get fired up in there.
Yes.
We got our snacks ready. We get in there, 30 computers.
Yes.
And we would battle to the death.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
it's so fun.
I can't play computer games now because I get addicted to
Right.
it. So I literally just, cold turkey. I can't play.
StarCraft was a fun one too, man. That strategy game, so fun.
Oh yeah, love that.
Yeah.
I could literally play all day.
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
addictive personality, so I got to just not play.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
So the awakening for life kind of came in college then. It's like the lights kind of turned on then because you were just in,
Yeah.
you're not exactly getting clear direction back at home, your foundation.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you're trying to map it out. You enter into college and the lights start turning on like, gosh, I got to figure out this job situation.
For sure. My first job that my sticky note of a resume got me was at a bowling alley
Nice.
in Montebello.
No way.
It was at an AMF bowling alley.
Okay.
And the job title was lane attendant, which is a nice way of saying janitor.
Nice, Ray. I love
I
it.
was getting paid $7.25 an hour. I still remember
Yeah.
so clearly.
Oh my, I love it.
And it was great. Like I had a great time doing it. It was very defining for me. It was the summer before I transferred to UC Riverside. So I got like 4 months of just working in the summer at a bowling alley, so my job was a group would go in, they get served, then they leave. Then I go in and clean up the lane for the next party to go in.
I see.
So,
Would you
yeah,
like slick
yeah.
the floor and the whole thing?
Oh yeah, dude. I was like,
How do you do this?
not slick the floor. I was just cleaning up the chill area.
Oh, I see.
Taking
I
out the
see.
trash,
Yeah,
wiping
I
everything
see.
down.
Just making sure that the bowling station is ready for the next group.
Yeah, occasionally I'd walk in the middle to take a pin or a stuck bowling ball. But
Got it. That's fine. Wait, were you bowling on the free time?
No, I wasn't. A lot of people are like, "Oh, so you know how to bowl?" I was like, "Nah,
You never bowled a 300 game or anything like that?
not even close." No.
Oh man, dude, my specialty, Ray. We used to do that night bowling. What was that called?
Oh yes.
Yeah, the night games when they would
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they would light up the neon balls and the whole thing, and then I would find the lightest ball.
Yes, throw it as hard as you can.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put my fingers in the hole because it was too small. It was like a child's ball. I would just palm the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I would just blitz. I would sprint and then just blitz it, just throw it,
Yes.
and it would launch halfway down the lane, and then bang, it would hit the center. But the ball was spinning. It was like
Yes. Oh.
bang. And when you got a strike and that happened, you the whole thing would just like rack. It just like. Gah,
Yeah.
because I couldn't throw the heavier balls like that. I had to throw them straight. But anywho,
I love my time there. Actually, it's kind of goofy, but I really enjoyed. It was very defining for me because it was my first real job. I'm about to go to college, so like And I got to see, like, I was working alongside some people who are older, like my parents' age, who
Sure.
were laying it, like waiters at the bowling alley. And I remember thinking, okay, I got to do more. I had this ambition. I didn't know what I was going to do. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to be middle-aged
I see.
working some job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I got paid to be a janitor. So I was a janitor. So like in the downtimes, like bowling alleys either spike or they're completely dead. And when they're completely dead, what the people do who work at bowling alleys is they blast the music and they just have a good time, just hang out.
Yeah.
But I would always just be working, like cleaning something, wiping down a counter. And I remember going out when it was slow in summer, sweeping the parking lot, pulling weeds. Like,
Wow,
because
Ray.
like I just didn't want to sit still.
Yeah.
Like, I was hired to work, so I'm gonna work.
Oh, I love it, Ray. Let's go.
Yeah, and I also like, and as I'm cleaning the food too, taking away like half-eaten pizzas, like stuff in my face before I throw it out, like in the back of the kitchen,
Yeah.
like a rat. Just
Is that a pepperoni? Yes, please.
Yes, half-eaten buffalo wings.
Man.
I'll finish those
Oh, I
off.
love it. Yeah. Get a little snack on the way.
Nothing wasted.
I
Before
love
I
it.
throw it in, I technically couldn't do that, but before I threw it away,
I get it. You're like, that's like a $10 basket right there. Somebody's just throwing it away.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember putting ice in the urinals like the guys would like go in there super drunk and they'd see me doing that and tip me like $20 and
Oh.
so it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
But I remember like all my coworkers at the time and they were great. But they're like, Ray, why are you working so hard? You're making us look bad. And I was like, dude, I'm just here to work. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm here to hang too and I want to have a good time, but like I'm here to work.
Right.
And I remember right before I left, I was cleaning off a table for someone, and they left me like $1 and some change, like some free change. And because I wiped it down, I took it. And I remember that caused so much drama with the waiter that I
What?
worked all summer with.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean,
For $1 and some change.
for $1 some change, like 4 months of friendships and all, I thought we were close, gone for
No.
$1 and some change.
No.
And I just remember like sitting there thinking like, dude, like, I thought we were close. Like, I thought we were friends. I'm about to leave. Like, and like, here, take the money. Like, I don't really care about it. But like, I just remember thinking how money brings out the worst in people at that time. And it's just, yeah, you could work alongside someone for 4 months and over $1, it's over some change. Like, yeah. So those are some negative aspects of the job. But again, all very valuable realizations. And I remember I had this boss, he's an assistant manager at the bowling alley. This guy, so one time I get this call on the PA system. It's like packed Saturday night. And it's like, Ray, report to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and some dude blew it up.
No.
Like nasty.
No.
Like straight animal. Like
No.
on the walls.
He's an
Like,
animal.
Completely missed.
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, completely. I don't know who did it, but completely missed.
No.
And it was all over, literally the walls. Like,
No.
so, I mean, so I'm in there and I walk out. I'm like, don't make me do this. Like,
No.
And the guy told me, like, if you don't do this, I'm going to make one of the girls do it. And
Aye.
I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I went into the closet. I got all the chlorine. The
Yeah.
entire bowling alley
Yeah.
smelled like a
Chlorine.
like a pool, like a public pool.
Right.
On Saturday night, I was like, dude, you told me to clean this. I'm cleaning
Right.
it. So,
Oh, wow.
and then like a week later, I get the same call and I see the same thing. And then I walked into his office like, dude, are you kidding me? And he's busting laughing because what he did is he took a bunch of candy bars,
No.
melted it, and
No.
smeared it on the wall.
No, he didn't.
Like, and then told me to clean it up.
Why?
Because he wanted to have some power trip about like, ordering me
Dude,
around.
What's
clean
wrong with these guys?
Yeah, like that was kind of like, so it was a really great experience. And then like I got some pretty cool life stories from that.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty, I mean, it's awesome hearing you tell these stories, Ray, because it's oftentimes some of the hardest workers and the most successful people around are people who started working at the bottom, if I can say that.
For sure.
They learn the nuts and bolts of
Yes.
the bottom,
Yes.
and what it means, and learned a lot of the do's and don'ts of management as well, and just people above you and like how they treat you and what, all that stuff. Like you can see And, everybody gets, well, not everybody, but when you get that opportunity eventually, it's too much is given, much is required, right?
Sure.
And it's a lot of responsibility to manage people. And most people fail at that. They're just not good. They fail and then they don't grow. They just keep failing and they just keep destroying people, and it's not good.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
what a lesson, though.
Oh, yeah.
Raymond Wang at the bowling alley. I love it.
Great.
Long-term Ray turns around and buys that bowling alley and says, hey, guys, I'm the new owner.
Yeah, that was it was great. It was great. Like it was almost perfect right before I went to college. And I remember going to, luckily, I figured out the grade situation to get into UC Riverside.
Yeah. So how'd you do that? So you transferred into UCR, right?
Yes.
So you had to obviously level up at
Yeah.
PCC.
Yeah, 2.5 years at PCC.
Dude, good for you, man.
Yeah. Had
Way
to
to make
learn how to like. Luckily, the great thing about going to community college is the slate gets wiped clean. You don't transfer your high school grades over, so you get a fresh GPA. So it's like, which is great for me because I had
That is.
yeah, like
Little tip for all you young guys.
oh yeah. I mean,
If you messed up high school, just step into community college and start over.
dude, honestly, 2.5 years of general ed at community college, and then transfer in upper division courses at private public university.
And it costs a fraction of the UC system.
For sure. Yeah. Nothing.
And private, I mean, it's probably 30 times less.
Oh yeah. It's honestly crazy. And at that time, like for me, I'm a late bloomer, so again, didn't have a clue what I was going to do. Didn't even know what I was going to major in. I chose economics because it was a whatever like major. Like
Sure.
I'm going to major in business, and
Right.
not knowing anything of what that really means. But I remember I transferred to UC Riverside, and that summer, the orientation, I remember it so vividly. Everyone around me was so excited. Like we made it. Like we're all because we're all transfer students.
Oh, I love it.
There, and it's orientation. It's great.
Yeah.
honestly. But I remember where everyone was this joyous, light, like celebration. I felt dread.
Huh.
Because I remember thinking so clearly, I have 2 years here, and then if I don't have a job by the time I graduate, I'm in the streets.
Wow.
So, because I got kicked out of home right before I left. So
Really?
yeah. So I was at college, no backstop. I either graduate and find a job, or
Was it a kick out into college, or was it as a kick out of, your relationship kind of burnt down, kick out?
yeah, relationship kind of burned down, kicked
yeah,
out.
sorry.
Yeah, it's tough, but really.
So you had to grow up quick. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't have anybody to fall back on. I gotta run.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
So yeah, I just remember like in the transfer orientation the entire time, I just feel like this ticking time bomb of 2 years. 2 years, I have to graduate, I have to get a job. And again, my experience at the time was failed athlete, bowling alley, and that was about it. Not very good at school. Never really a student. Shy. Couldn't really talk to anyone. So I remember going to career centers, academic advisors, every professor. I went to their office hours. I remember I went to the career counselor, and the career center at UCR is on the other side of the campus.
Right.
So you literally have to walk across campus.
Okay.
There. And in order to break myself out of this, I remember, okay, it started with me going to office hours, my professors, really easy first step. I remember I walked in, I was so shy. The professor turns around and looks at me. It's like, what's up? And I froze because I was just nervous. I just couldn't talk to him. I literally just turned around and walked away. So that's how bad it was for me to be able to talk to strangers. But again, just kept doing that.
Huh.
Went to my academic advisor who told me to go to the career center. Then I started going to the career center, resume workshops, this, that, or the other, trying to get involved in clubs. One thing I did to break out of the whole shyness is the long walk between across campus. I would just stop and talk to any student and just be like, hey, I'm Ray, transfer student, really shy, I'm trying to break out of this.
Wow.
And just introduce myself.
I love it.
And that really helped me like break out of the whole shyness thing. So by the end of it, by the grace of God, again, at that time, I'm far from God. I don't know God. I know of God. I'm not a believer by any means. I actually think that the whole Karl Marx religion is the opiate of the masses. Very kind of UC liberal mindset.
Did
That's
somebody give you a book, or did you discover that in college?
no, yeah, in college, like
College?
high school, college courses.
Wow, just through some of the courses, it kind of stumbled upon it.
Yeah, and again, it's the culture that all the students around there are kind of the same mindset. So you just kind of blend in and go with whatever that flow is, not really thinking too much about it.
Wow, would you speak to
Yeah.
that a bit more, Ray? That's pretty wild, that Marxism, because you hear a lot of that on the surface, like Marxism
Yeah.
is in the, in the education system in the colleges, and it's like, no, it's
Yeah.
not, and it's like,
Yeah.
but Ray's just saying he's just kind of just cruising and literally just
Yeah.
everybody's like being worked in that
Yeah.
direction.
I remember UC Riverside used to do these debate nights, and there was one guy, I remember it so clearly. It was evolution versus creation, and it was great. Like there was this, Jurassic Park old man guy who was a Darwinist, and then there's a Christian guy, and they were debating. And I remember just like those were just really awesome. But like everyone was cheering for the Darwin guy.
I think, wait, what year was this?
This was 2012, 2011, 2012 time frame.
I was saying, did we put that on, Aaron? That was us.
Oh, really?
Put that on.
Dude, yeah. But like I was
Jason Martin and the guys, like I think it was The Well, we got it all together,
Yes.
got it going.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, I remember sitting in the bleachers and everyone was like, going like rooting for the Darwin guy.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there. I was like, yeah, like I didn't really have an opinion. It was,
Yeah.
it was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
So,
That was a wild night. It was packed out, and there's
Yeah.
people outside.
yeah, it was packed.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember.
Man, yeah. We started a Bible club on UCR campus.
Yeah.
And I used to be over there on campus almost every week, and then we would do the
Crazy.
forum in the middle of the school where the bell tower is.
Yes.
And we'd set up speaker and
man.
microphone, couple microphones, and kids would walk up and we would debate them publicly. We called it the forum. It was great, man. We'd answer any question regarding
Yeah.
God, the Bible, Christianity, the Lord Jesus, and we had a panel of guys, kind of all like majored in different subjects,
Yeah.
and so everybody could answer from different angles. And man, that was so familiar with UCR campus, and
Oh, yeah.
it's weird hearing you talk about it because I'm getting flashbacks of it all.
It wasn't until you started talking about like the well.
Yeah.
And I could see it in the hub, like the wellness, like not the well, but the well.
Yeah.
I always wondered what in the world that was because,
Yep.
yeah, I was part of a business club. I was the president of Future Business Leaders of America.
No way.
Yeah. And I remember we had our meetings every Wednesday nights right in the hub, right by the well.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
I remember walking past that like every Wednesday thinking, what is this?
Wow.
What is this well? But yeah, it was an interesting time, but at the time, again, I'm far from God. I don't, again, I know of God. I don't believe in God. Really grew up with a chip on my shoulder in terms of, I have to figure this out. There's this poem, it's called Invictus, where part of it, I forget what it is. It's basically like, it was my anthem, like my life philosophy, where at the end of it, he's talking about like his hardships of life and like beaten, but not broken, bloodied, but not out, something like that. And then at the end, it's like, I am the master of my own life. I am the captain of my own soul.
Wow.
Basically, like, and it's like, I remember at the time, I was like, that's it. That's
Wow.
me. Like, I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I got nothing, no one helping me, but I'm going to figure this out. And that's kind of my drive. Like that drive was what was really propelling me to like put myself out there, spend, take 18 courses, try to graduate in 2 years, try to find internships, spend all my time at the Career Center, figure out resumes, lead a club. All of this was just predicated on I have to be successable. And all that meant was I have to make more money and have status and prestige and
Right.
all that stuff that doesn't really matter.
So you did 2 years at UC, right?
Yeah.
And graduated with
Economics degree, a bachelor's.
okay, with this eerie feeling in the back of your mind, in your heart, like I I have to find a job. I've got to figure this out.
Yeah. So that really started the second my orientation started. So like I didn't really have any time, which is a good because it kept me away from frat parties or like going to parties because I had no time.
You were focused.
I had a timeline, and it wasn't healthy. It was this obsession over I have a limited amount of time. I have no job, which means I transfer in as a junior, which means that summer I have to get an internship. By the grace of God, like I land an internship at Kohl's.
Really?
Yeah.
Kohl's.
Which is like of all the like Kohl's and Target were like the big ones on campus.
Okay.
Retail, like store manager. I remember I was so I went from a bowling alley person to now I got an internship at Kohl's for summer to be an assistant store manager.
No way.
At Kohl's. Yeah.
Wild, man.
This is before like Amazon blew up.
Okay.
So this is like 2012 time frame.
Yeah.
So I remember like it was great. It was the first time I went to Wisconsin as part of the internship. Their headquarters.
Huh.
Never left California. Like,
Wow.
Before that, it was great. Before I graduated, they made me an offer, which was great to be an assistant store manager.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I have it.
You got something.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And that was at the end of my junior year, and that's really when I started becoming like this mentor to other people because at the time when I transferred in, I was lost. I was looking so desperately for someone to take me under their wing because I would meet like these students at these clubs that I would go to, and they looked nice. Like they had like, I remember this guy, he had a full green suit.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have a suit. Like this guy had like
He's got a dialed green suit.
tailored
Okay.
watch, accessories, like
Wow.
pocket square. This guy, and he's like a senior at UC Riverside. I was like, dude, what's the secret, man?
Yeah.
And like part of this club, all these people had like internships at like JP Morgan.
Really?
Goldman Sachs.
Wait, what? Tell me the club again.
The club was Alpha, I think.
Okay.
That I've been, but the club that I became president of was Future Business Leaders of America.
Future Business Leaders of America.
Yeah.
Huh.
LA, yeah. Which is it's like a high school thing. I joined because it's a high school program that they have in college. So
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, like I was really desperate to find someone to kind of teach me the way.
So you found this guy in Alpha.
Yeah.
Green suit.
But green suit. And what I learned talking to all these people who seem like they have it all put together, the first thing I asked anyone, whether I was talking to some random person on the way to Career Center, is what are you majoring in? And then do you have anything lined up for college? Or have you done any internships, anything lined up for your job? How did you find it? How did you get there? Tell me your story. And it was so frustrating because people just wouldn't share their stories. Like person who got internship at Goldman Sachs. Like I remember she was holding her cards really close to her chest.
Why? Why were they doing that?
I have no, like, again, when I started
Scarcity mindset?
Yeah. Like there's only so many internships.
Yeah. If they find out, you try to sneak in.
Yeah. Zero sum game. Like if you get the offer, then I don't get the offer.
Yeah.
And I just remember really hating that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and then there's another girl who's, UBS, like all these big banks, like, that I wanted to be, work at because they paid you a lot of money. And then I learned, you got your internship because your dad's like a VP there, or your uncle is this, or it's like, it's not something you brag about. It's just like, hey, I got my internship here and I got this job line. I'm an analyst,
right?
Like,
they probably don't want to tell that part of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just want to, you just want to see that. Yeah. So like, I remember seeing like how hollow that was.
Yeah.
Like how nice it looked at front, and then you start peeling the layers.
Sure.
It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. And it was really disheartening. And I was like, dude, there's got to be someone like me where it's like, I have no job experience. I have no clue what I'm doing. Help me. Like, I can't be the only one.
Right.
Turns out I wasn't. Like, the club that I started met every week, really career focused people in my situation, just talking through like, hey, what internships? Do you know what a resume is? Here's your prep. You have an interview at here. Here's
So that drove you to start helping people.
Yeah, yeah. Just because I didn't have it, I wish I had it.
Yeah.
So, really pushed for that my senior year.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And probably able to connect, that ended up connecting you to a lot of great people.
Yeah, like really strong network of like-minded students that I was able to talk to, and some of them are some of my best men I met in that club. So Adele, who did the live painting at my wedding, she's from that club. So like some amazing people with some crazy skills that just like me had like in college, clueless, don't know what's going on, scared but don't want to show it.
Right.
Like and yeah, just a community of people just commiserating and trying to figure it out. So it was a good experience.
Ray, that kind of, I don't know, what I'm noticing in life is that kind of grit and tenacity, that kind of focus and drive
Yeah.
that you get from, coming from, coming from difficulty, having to be pushed out, of your own home and having to just figure it out on your own, not having mentors to help you navigate through life. You're kind of navigating on your own, looking for people and just trying to figure it out. Like that kind of drive and that kind of connecting of the dots is just not easy to do, but it's actually equipping you to be able to do unbelievable things in the future.
For sure.
And, our stories are semi-similar in that, I'm thankful for my home, but I too had to leave home at 18 and never was able to go back. We lost our house and we lost our car. We lived in a hotel. You know the story. And and I basically was pushed out and I had to go figure out life on my own.
Yeah.
And what I found is oftentimes, I'll say it. What I found is those characteristics actually become very attractive to successful people.
Yeah.
Because you have the nuts and bolts. You have gone through the fire and learned the nuts and bolts that for many is just given to them.
For sure. Yeah.
It's given to them up front.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here, let me give you the manual for running $1 million company. Here it is.
Yeah.
This is exactly how you do it. I am your, I'm your mentor. I did it 10 times over, and this is how you do it. And here's the funding to do it. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but when you have to work from nothing and you have to nut and bolt from scratch everything together, you're picking up on 1,000 tips along the way. And when you're self-made, per se,
for sure,
we know we're not self-made.
No, absolutely not.
We're made by the Almighty. By the grace of God, we've made it this far.
Yes.
But when you are self-made according to the world's standard, oftentimes then when you step into very successful environments, people say, who are your parents? How'd you get into this situation? How'd you,
For sure.
No, I don't have any of that. I can't, you what? You came from what?
Yeah.
And then they're kind of triple impressed or blown away.
Yeah.
And that ends up giving you a hand up in life.
Yeah, but it's a very painful process.
It's a long road. It's a long, difficult road.
Yeah.
But I want to encourage those listeners maybe who feel like they're stuck in that situation or stuck in the mud, that God does have a plan and he can work through, and with really one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, just listening to his plan, his will, and chipping away, long-term determination and focus, you can accomplish pretty much anything that you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest lessons I learned in life, where in college it was kind of like pull myself up, and I may not be the smartest, most articulate person, but I'm going to outwork everyone. And that got me to like my internship. It got me an offer, got me to my first job. It got me into Edison, which was completely random. And this whole time I'm thinking, if you watch Harry Potter, the four houses, I'm a Slytherin, or I was a Slytherin, like through and through, like cold-hearted, calculating, analytical, ambitious, like just trying to get ahead, just trying to climb that ladder, climb my status, climb my power, influence, prestige, all of that. Like that's what I'm going for. I don't even know what I'm going for, but if it gets me more money and higher status, then I'm in. Like, let's go for it. Like, I became a financial analyst because I thought that that's where the golden ticket was, because everyone that I was around was like, "Oh, you should be a financial analyst." I had no idea what a financial analyst was. So I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's go for that." And then and me trying to struggle. Okay, I got this internship for retail, and then there's this part of me that loved teaching because I was president of this club.
Yeah.
Almost became a teacher. So
Wow.
Teach for America.
Wow.
Huge. I got recruited by Teach for America, but before I committed 2 years of my life, I decided to do an after school program at Moreno Valley.
Oh, to go test it.
Third graders.
Wow.
It's a nonprofit called Think Together. It's just like this
That's
after
cool.
school program.
Yeah.
Learned in a month I can't be a teacher. Yeah.
I love it.
I made a kid pee his pants.
No. Yeah. That'll do it.
I don't feel good about it, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, and that really warped my worldview, because I thought my entire college experience was self-discovery, finding my confidence, finding my voice, finding what was I born to do? Like, what am I doing in life? What is my legacy going to be? How are people going to remember me? And I love teaching. That's what I loved, leading this club. And I was working at the Academic Resource Center, so I was a peer counselor. So working with kids about to get kicked out, or pregnant, or illegal immigrants. The crazy stories. That's what I was working. It was an amazing job. But I love that aspect of being able to teach and shepherd and help other people.
Yes.
So when I realized that teaching wasn't it, I was like, all right, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Let's go back to financial analysis.
Yeah.
So that's how I became my first job out of UC Riverside. Was turned down Teach for America, went to be a financial analyst up in Big Bear.
Really?
Yeah.
Where at?
It was actually not Big Bear. It's Lake Arrowhead.
Okay. Arrowhead. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Blue Jay, the little town of there.
Sure.
Right there, downtown. Property wasn't in Lake Arrowhead.
Okay.
That's just where the person who owned the company lived. So I remember so vividly. She had a different Porsche every day in Lake Arrowhead.
What?
And that was a convertible too. And it snows out there. But she had insane wealth. And basically she owned a property 7 miles by 7, about the size of San Francisco, on the north of Santa Barbara. So coastal property.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that property is the property that she owned.
Unbelievable.
And this company that I worked for was in charge of developing it. The vision at the time was turning it into the next Irvine.
Wow.
I was like, dude, that's cool.
Wow.
Property.
Whoa.
Very naive and thinking that was going to happen. Because coastal California, California, it's impossible.
Right.
Coast of California, even more impossible.
And Montecito plus Santa Barbara probably is fighting against all of that.
Oh, yeah.
They do not want that to happen.
Absolutely not. It's crazy. And California Coastal Commission, Fish and Wildlife, all the environmental impact studies, and cherry on top, there's this place called Point Conception on the property, which is it's a sacred Indian burial ground.
This is the ranch. This is the ranch.
Yeah, Coho.
This is some of the best. This is some of the best surfing in California.
Yeah,
and you can't get to it because all the property is blocked off by private owners. So you have to know somebody to get in.
Yes,
and I would have loved that connection, Ray. Thank you very much. No, or we can go in by boat, which we may have to try one day.
Yeah, I mean, I never got to visit the property.
The surf is amazing.
I mean, it's they did have 2 working farms, 1,000 head cattle. So I found myself graduated from Riverside doing Excel spreadsheets for 80 hours a week. I would go up before the sun rose and come home after the sun came down.
Wow.
Just spreadsheets.
Where were you living?
in Lake Arrowhead.
Oh,
I
wow.
was renting a room out there.
And then you would drive up to, or would you actually go up to the ranch?
No, I would just live.
See.
I never visited. Not
Okay,
once.
so this is remote.
Remote.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Completely remote.
Got it.
I remember I was doing the cattle ranch operation. So in my mind, I thought like ranchers ran like ranches. Like
Yeah.
no, it's some new grad that they got for on the cheap, like running spreadsheets on birthing rates and like.
Whoa.
So like I remember at the time it was 2014 drought, like California was in a crazy drought. Hay prices were through the roof. Meat prices were through the roof. So expensive to feed the cows, but you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like
Beef was expensive.
yeah, so and we had 1,000 cattle, and it was growing. So I looked at 5 years of historical birth rates, and I told my CEO in a report saying we should sell half the herd because we're in a drought. It costs too much to feed them, and we'll make a fortune because beef prices are all time high. So just submitted it, not thinking anything. It's in an Excel spreadsheet. And the next week, I'm just like seeing checks come in, 100,000, 300,000. And it's like, oh my goodness, you actually sold half the herd.
Whoa.
So yeah, I have the blood of like 600 cattle on my hands.
Oh, I love it. That was some good beef. Somebody got some steaks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you want to get 601, if you want to get a 601, you just let me know, Ray. I'll buy that cow.
Oh yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like that was kind of the first real world like impact.
Wow.
That I got to experience unintentionally. And yeah, like, so that was my job, like do a bunch of analysis, like what happens if we put 4 hotels here, how many years until we break even? And I'd run those numbers and give out some number. What happens if we put a wind turbine on the coast of this property? None of that actually happened, but it's all theory.
Right.
That's how I found myself on the Edison job boards, actually.
Wow. Really? Through analyzing energy?
Yeah, because I had to figure out, okay, if we did do wind turbines, what's the process? What's the application look like? And I figured out the interconnection process, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're hiring.
Wow.
Random. So seemingly random.
Right. Right.
At this time,
Right.
my whole worldview is I'm the captain of my ship. Oh my goodness. It was like, and like here I was wearing my identity was in what I was able to do. And I'm a hard worker and I'm a financial analyst. Like, that was my entire identity. And I never would have picked or thought about the energy sector or the utilities. So applied, didn't get in the first time, kept in contact, saw the job posting come up again, hit up the recruiter. The recruiter's like, yeah, let me get you in for an interview. And then I got the job. And to my surprise.
And what was the job?
It was a contract manager. So managing so anyone that wants to build power generation plants has to connect to the grid. Before they connect to the grid, they have to sign a huge agreement, a contract with Edison. And I was managing a portfolio of those contracts. So, I mean, super administrative. They made me an insane offer. I was for like 40 hours a week. I was working 80 hours a week. So I'd work half the time. I'd get paid twice as much.
Oh,
it was unreal. And I never would have thought about it. And I kind of just stumbled upon it. It was not me.
Wow.
I just stumbled into that.
Wow.
And then I remember going in for the interview, and their headquarters is in Rosemead, California. I grew up in San Gabriel, which is literally 3 miles away from these I never went there.
Whoa.
I remember sitting in the parking lot like, oh my goodness, I grew up 3 miles.
This is right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cubicle City, Edison Classic. Yeah, and that's how I got started with Edison. So
1,000 cubicles you stepped into.
Oh yeah, it's office space.
Office space. So, wow, Ray. So you went from herding cattle digitally to managing energy.
Yeah.
And when did you step into Edison?
I joined around 2014 timeframe.
2014.
Yeah.
And I love that you pointed out, that you thought you were the captain of your ship and you were leveling up. And you were like, dude, I pulled up my bootstraps. I found a great opportunity in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And I'm working. I'm getting to run all these things. I'm overseeing this. And now I'm going to level up again because I'm the captain.
Yes.
And you step into Edison.
Yeah.
And
Man.
the Lord had something else up his sleeve, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was. I remember so clearly, like the shock of getting basically a government job, like great job, great, amazing benefits.
Yeah, maybe some of the breakdown of Edison
Yeah.
for people who don't know, listening outside of California, or if you don't
Yeah.
know Edison.
Yeah, it's a local electric utility in Southern California. There's in California, which by the way California is the 5th largest economy globally.
Wow.
So huge state, like state has so much power, influence, unlimited resources basically. There's 3 major utilities that operate in California. Pacific Gas and Electric, which is Northern California, Northern Central California, Southern California, which is Southern California Edison, which is the company that I work for, and then San Diego Gas and Electric. So these 3 utilities basically run the utilities for California, which is, again, the 5th largest economy in the world. Huge, not something anyone really thinks about. I never thought about. I remember playing Monopoly with my friends in high school. Everyone wants Boardwalk.
Yeah.
No one's getting the water utility, electric utility. Like that's the stuff you give away. Like you mortgage it first and then you give it away.
Right.
Like right before you go bankrupt. Like
Right.
no one cares about the utilities.
Right.
Never thought twice about these utilities.
Right.
And then here I am in this massive company, trying to climb the corporate ladder. So
How
that
many
was
employees?
13,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty big.
Trying to climb this corporate ladder.
Yeah. So now I'm a corporate man. Now I'm like, okay, I have my foot in the door. I'm in an entry level position. Now what do I get? Like, how do I promote?
Did you put on the green suit?
No green suit. I still don't have a green suit today. Still no green suit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I spent 2 years just trying to scheme and network and, who can I get close to? Because I mean, if I get close to someone, they have a job, then I'll get considered for an interview. So it's all this game that I'm playing with people.
Could you see that when you immediately entered in? You could just see everybody doing this?
Yeah, it's huge. The bureaucracy is very real at any corporation, actually. So this is real. It's really pronounced in like Fortune 500 companies. Not as much in private companies.
Is it talked about publicly, or is this an unspoken thing that you just know goes on, but nobody actually talks about it?
Exactly. It's part of the culture that you find out. And it was very, very rude. It was a very rude awakening to a point where I got sick of it and I was about to leave because I just got fed up with.
When you got 6 months in or something, is that like all of a sudden it started to dawn on you, like this is how I level up or something? What happened?
Yeah. It's just like, how am I gonna? So like, you join as an analyst, you become a senior analyst, you become like 1, 2, 3 levels, then you become a manager, then you become senior manager, and so on and so forth.
You're trying to figure out how to climb the ranks.
Yeah, and it's just like, and people promote, and the way that they promote, it's very more rarely than not, it's on merit. But it could be both. So it's both merit and they're really good at what they do. So it's not just pure bureaucracy. There are some really great people.
Yes.
At Edison, like amazing company. Again, I got fed up with it. 2 years, thought about leaving. And then I remember driving down from Tehachapi, which is up north, which has a bunch of wind turbines. And I was driving down south back to LA. And I remember seeing the transmission towers, which are the big steel towers that if you drive anywhere, you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those for the first time, again, working for the company for 2 years at the time, and thinking, wow, this is a huge footprint that this company has. And this job that I am, yes, I'm just a little nut in this massive machine, but like I'm part of this company. So that's kind of where in my mind I was like, okay, I either am going to commit to this company or I'm going to get out. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm here, I'm going to commit. I'm going to stop trying to, level up or whatnot, and I'm going to commit. But then again, you're still like, there's HR policies, like you have to be in a role for 18 months before you promote or before you even interview.
Yeah.
And then when you interview, you have to have like at the time, everyone my age was trying to be a project manager. Like that was kind of the the promised land.
Okay.
So you join in as an analyst, and the goal is, how do I get to project manager?
Got it.
So everyone's trying to take certifications, this, that, or the other. To be a project manager, you have to have 7 years of working experience.
Whoa.
7 years.
Wow.
Like, just to qualify, just to get your interview.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. For like, and I remember sitting there, like, looking at all the project managers, senior project managers, thinking, dude, I work harder than all of these people.
Wow.
And like, yeah, you have more years of experience, but I am more effective.
You could see it already.
Oh yeah. So like, there was this chip on my shoulder again, like, okay, how do I circumvent this process? But it's not possible at Edison. And I remember 2016, I was 25 years old. I remember it very clearly because 25 years old, I had just like all the millennials, my quarter life crisis.
I'm not a billionaire yet. What happened?
Yeah. And, I was trying, like, I remember at the time I was feeling so unfulfilled. There was something missing. So it's like, okay, I have this great job. I'm living pretty comfortably, more so than I ever thought, like, growing up. But there's something else, like, what's missing? Okay, my physical health, my mental health, my this, that, or the other. It's like, it's not enough. So I tried a bunch of different things. Like, I tried woodworking. I tried, oh yeah. Okay. So the other thing that happened that time, I was engaged previously. And 2 months.
You're 23, 24, 25?
Yeah, engaged.
Okay.
Been dating her for about 6 years. So my entire adult life, I was with this girl.
Okay.
Proposed to her before I turned 25.
Okay.
2 months before the wedding, after the invites all went out, we broke up. Broke the engagement.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. That took me to a very dark spot.
This is around 25 years old as well.
This is 25 years old. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. That was 24 heading into 25.
I see. So 25 was a dark year then, or
Full midlife,
I see.
quarter life crisis.
I see.
Where it's like, I worked all this, like, I remember at the time I was just exhausted because I've been grinding through college, grinding all through my working career, working, like, I thought I had, like, corporate job, pretty good salary, engaged, like, life is working, and then it falls apart. Alcohol, like, I remember I'd have nightmares, so I would go to drink. I drink until I'd black out, and then I wouldn't even. And then I'd work as much as I could, or do something to keep myself occupied, so I wouldn't have to think about it. Only sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night, to a point where I just stopped having dreams. I would just black out, just out of pure exhaustion. Wake up, repeat. That's actually how I started traveling. So,
wow. This is during your 25 year.
25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
This pushed you to travel.
my first country that I left for was Spain.
Okay.
That was the honeymoon.
All right.
That was supposed to be the honeymoon.
Okay. Where'd you go in Spain?
Barcelona.
Fun. That's a great town.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You saw the church?
Oh yeah, Sagrada Familia, amazing, like, incredible.
How long has it been being built?
It's still, I don't know if it's still going on, I think.
Yeah. Is it 1,000 years or something they've been building it?
Yeah. Just like pure donations of people. And every year some new facade gets built.
Spectacular.
It's honestly incredible. I remember going there, sitting there, thinking, and they have the little audio things in English, and it's like talking about God and inspiration. I remember, again, at that time, I'm far from God. I don't know God. And so I'm just like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, I'm out. It's kind of,
I love it.
It's kind of that thing where you go to see it because you got to see it. And
totally.
You're out. And it's cool. But again, it's like the whole history, the meaning, the whole theme of light there and mimicking nature. Like, the pillars are made to look like trees because the whole thing is like natural and like the amazing world God created. That's the inspiration behind the architecture.
Amazing.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
But again, to me, to the non-believer, it's just like, cool, got the picture, put it on my Instagram,
Right.
out. Like, let's get the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Tapas.
tapas. So I went to Barcelona, then I went to Madrid,
Okay.
then I went south to Sevilla,
Okay.
which is my favorite. And all of this was born from the pain of my broken engagement,
Yeah.
which was hard.
Lots of great food.
Amazing food.
Yeah.
And I used to watch Anthony Bourdain all the time, just Travel Channel, and just dream. And again, that became part of my, like, once I went to Spain, it kind of became part of my identity.
Was that your first international trip?
It was.
So it broke the lid then. It just was just like,
Yeah.
because you're kind of nervous. You're like, okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
International flight, probably Heathrow. You go through London, and then you enter into Spain, and you're like,
That's exactly what happened.
you're like, okay, did I get my flight right? Am I transferring? Like how do I get there? Where do I check in? Taxis or
Oh, yeah.
yeah, all the share rides and trying to figure out how to get to your locations, and then but once you do it,
Yes.
it just blows the whole thing open.
Oh, yeah. So I remember I had a big backpack, a little Osprey backpack, staying at hostels because they're
Fun.
like $4 at a time a day.
So cheap.
Crazy. Like I remember landing in Barcelona, didn't speak the language, didn't speak Spanish, didn't figure out my phone plan for whatever reason, so I couldn't get internet. And my hostel was like, I couldn't figure out the train situation. So I got into inner city somehow, and then it was late, so no one was around, and no one spoke English. So I just like hoofed it. Like I walked from the train station to my hostel.
Whoa! Amazing.
Yeah, 3 miles or
Whoa,
so.
nice.
Like, I forget how long, but I remember walking through. It was like middle of the night, Barcelona.
Wow.
This kid with a huge backpack just walking through the streets trying to find his hostel. Never been to a hostel before. Never really traveled. Barely went to hotels. Like I remember, I got to the hostel, checked in. I get up to my bed, and I'm thinking like, okay, there's gonna be like a towel here. And the first thing I noticed was the bed. The bed, it's not a bed that you would think of. It's like one of those like air mattress things, like that's made out of the stuff where you can spray it down and disinfect it. And they give you like one sheet and a pillow.
Yeah.
Like prison.
It's like freezing. Like, where is it? Can I get a blanket, please?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you don't need that because there's 18 other dudes in that. Like, yeah, so it smells bad. And
it's hot.
It's loud. Yeah, it's sticky. Yeah.
man.
I mean, I was like, okay, so I get this prison wrapped up like towel thing to throw over this thing you call a mattress.
Yeah.
Pillow and no towels. I was like, dude, I didn't pack any towels. So I go down to the reception, and I can't really speak the language. They're not really, they don't really speak English.
Right.
It's like, hey, can I buy a towel here? And they're like, yeah, it's like €3. I was like, all right, whatever, so pay. And they give me this hand towel.
No.
And I'm like, I remember looking at this. I was literally like a hand towel. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And they're like, if you want, you go to the store and buy it. I was like, dude, I walked here.
Yeah.
I can't go to the store.
Right.
Like, so that's what I used for like 4 days.
Nice, Ray. You just make it work, man.
Oh, yeah, it worked.
You hang it up in the sun.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You let it dry.
Honestly, yeah, it's like, it was my little...
You fold it and you put it in your pocket.
Yeah, the trick is you get a big towel and you hang it over your bunk bed, and that gives you a little privacy.
Nice.
From like the 8, but I'll in my little hand towel. So I have to put my big backpack, stuff in my clothes.
I see.
Head behind.
I feel like you have a little room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like it was an experience.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, I remember that kind of broke the whole travel bug. Every year after that, I would leave for at least 3 weeks somewhere.
Where have you traveled, Ray?
Yeah, so it started with Spain. Then I went to Vancouver. Then cities within the U.S., Thailand, China, like Italy, Egypt, France. So yeah, a lot of.
You just started going for it.
Caught the bug.
Yeah, and you go these long trips.
Yeah, so it's.
You get to fully soak in the culture.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so the travel was great.
And I love, but see, Ray, a lot of people are missing because you nerd out about this. Like, if you don't know Ray, like he literally like starts researching this place.
Yeah.
and trying to find all the details of these countries,
Yeah.
all the best places to go and to eat. And he has all these very specific interests. And
Yeah.
it's kind of on another level. You know, some people go to France and they're like, I want to see the Eiffel Tower. And it's like, yeah, you want to go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower? Of course. No, Ray's like, no. There's a little like wood shop, you know, over on the corner, and they have this trinket that I have to go in and buy, you know, because I want to see the old man who's 103 years old, who's been whittling away at this, you know, little piece of, you know, wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I love this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Traveling is incredible. And it, again, at the time when I started traveling, didn't have God, didn't know God. And it was a nice distraction. And the people that I met abroad, it was the first time, like, it was kind of glorified. If you watch Anthony Bourdain Travel Channel, like Parts Unknown and stuff, like I did religiously, here's this guy who gets paid to travel to these exotic places, and I would want to go and eat everywhere he ate. And I remember thinking at the time, like, it was awesome. But then when I get home, all these close friendships I meet with all these solo travelers were just shallow. And it's like, okay, it's fun for a moment, but it's not lasting.
I see. So you would connect with these people on these trips,
Yeah.
and you guys would basically travel for a week or two, and then like they would just vanish.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the backpacker mentality, a hostel backpacker mentality. You travel together, you meet up, you guys click, you guys go see the sights together, you know, and then you do that until you guys left. And then
Wow.
in the time you're very close.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're both running solo, and so you're looking.
Yeah.
It's great to have a deep connection, somebody to
For sure.
have that experience with.
Yeah.
And they are deep experiences because it's like you're seeing something for the first time. It's like,
Yes.
dude, there's the pyramid.
Yes.
Like with the stranger friend, you know, it's like, dude, you see
Yes.
that? That's crazy, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so there is like a heart knit connection there.
for sure.
It's kind of wild for it to be ripped apart, you know, immediately after.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's something. And one of the things that was kind of glorified was people would brag about, oh, yeah, I could eat a meal by myself. Like a lot of people don't do that. Like if you think about it, if you go to a restaurant, like a real nice restaurant, you're going with someone
Right.
usually.
Sure.
But Anthony Bourdain and all the backpackers at heart are just like, okay, I've eaten every meal alone. And that's cool for a moment.
Right.
But it gets old real quick.
Right.
And then I learned real quick, like, okay, this is not something to brag about. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And that's kind of what fed into this quarter life crisis that I had, where it's like, I'm traveling, I have a job, like, what's going on? Like, something's missing here. And yeah, so I mean, that was like a search for something. Like, I remember looking for, okay, maybe it's like mindset. I got to strengthen my mind, and I got to look at, you know, like Strengths Finder, or I got to look at this and better know myself and learn all these concepts and strength. And it's like, nope, like none of that stuff worked.
So you feel like traveling really cracked this thing open, like it kind of, maybe because you were having these really heightened experiences, and it's like, I'm finally doing things that are bringing me happiness and joy.
Yeah.
But that ended up like revealing more of the absence.
Yeah. And again, my entire life at this point has been like me trying to figure it out on my own. And you look at it on paper, it looks pretty good. But again, on the inside, I felt hollow. I knew there was something missing. And there was like, and there's this thing in my heart where it's like, something's missing. It's like this black hole that just I could not fill. And then lo and behold, in 2017, so I'm at my job too. I'm trying to climb the corporate ladder. Can't find my way around this HR policy that's going to prevent me from, I have to work here for 7 years before
You can level up.
I'm a project manager. That's crazy to me. And I have no other option at this point. So there's this weird program that they have, not weird, but there's this new thing that they have there, which is like, it's a developmental assignment where basically the program is you get put into this other group for 3 months, 6 months, and you don't, no heightened pay, nothing, no job change. You just go and explore like somewhere, some other job. And then at the end of which you come back. That's kind of where June 2017. I remember that's the day that I got put on one of these assignments because my boss at the time was like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, anything. I don't care where. He's like, you want to do this? You want to try this developmental assignment thing? I was like, yeah, fine. And I remember they gave me a little list of things to choose from, different departments to go try. And I'm checking like finance. I'm trying to check like other things that, I got none of them. And I remember him sitting me down. He's like, yeah, none of these you qualify for, even on a developmental. I was like, all right, well, this is a story of my life. Like it's a constantly like, you don't qualify for this or you need more experience for that. And then he's like, but there's this thing here. It's called work management. You want to give this a shot? In my mind, I was like, I don't know what this is. Like process improvement, work management. Fine. I don't care. Like it's not something, again, I literally they gave me a list of like 5 options. That was the one I didn't check. Like, of course, that's the one that
I don't want that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, of course, that's the one that, I get offered. Again, important to note that I did not choose that. As a matter of fact, I honestly, I literally did not choose that. And that was the only option left. So reluctantly, I was like, all right, let's just give this a shot. And June 1st, 2017 is when I started in this new group. So I was working out of Rosemead at the time, and this new group was in Pomona. So I remember going out there, and the first person that I get assigned to, his name is Jason Pendleton, and he is the father of the faith for me. He the one that brought me.
Shout out to Jason.
Yes, love you, Jason. He's
man.
It's honestly, I'm trying to recall.
So June 1st, 2017.
Yeah.
You're assigned to Jason.
Yeah.
And you don't know who he is yet, of course.
No idea.
Yeah.
And again, so at this point, I've been working for Edison for about 2 years, and I'm like, I just made this internal commitment to commit, and here I am in this new role. I don't know anything, don't even know what to expect. I just report here. You're going to support this project manager. It's like cool, like all right, sign me up. And it's great because this new group that I was part of, it's not just one person, it's multiple people. So like for part of my time, I'd be with Jason. Another part of my time would be with other project managers, and I would just essentially help them with their projects. And I remember at the time too, again, me trying to fight and climb the corporate ladder. Remember thinking, it's not possible. Like I need to figure out, I gotta get close to like VPs or higher ups and just figure out how I can network my way around these HR loopholes. And I remember thinking at the time before I left, as I'm packing up my cubicle to leave Rosemead to go to Pomona, walking through at night, seeing like all the pictures of families, beautiful. If you looked at them from just the cubicle, it's great. Like it's all everyone's personality, pictures of the family, and it looks great on the surface. But I worked with these people for 2 years, and I knew the dirt. I knew this person was cheating on that person. This person hated going home. VPs, one of the VP, I should be careful here, was talking about, bragging about like going to Thailand and bringing back a girl, and he's got girls in every city and this, that, or the other. I remember thinking like, that's not the life that I want. Like, and I remember the full-on crisis that I had was, dude, if I'm staying here trying to climb this ladder, is that going to be my future? Because I don't want that.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be, some exec at some company and not have a family and want to come to work to get away from the quote-unquote ball and chain, which is the wife and kids. And it's just like, that's not the life that I want. But again, that's the path that I chose. Like, so I'm at full crisis. I'm going into this new thing. And here's Jason Pendleton, who's this senior project manager at the time, rock star. Like the projects that he's leading is incredible. His experience, his wisdom. And I just remember like, this guy's awesome. And then like, I'd get to support him and learn from him and, help him out with his projects. And I'd be struggling and he'd pour into me. He'd guide me. He'd, get on calls with me. He'd mentor me.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, like, who is this guy? Like, why is he giving me so much of his time? And like I'd go to lunch with him. I talked to him a lot. Like got to know that he had 4 kids, a wife that he has a great relationship with.
Wow.
And it's like I remember at the time, it's like that was the unicorn at Edison.
Wow.
Everyone that I had met, everyone in my circle did not have that. That clear picture of this Christmas family that I used to grow up watching. And I was like, that's what I want.
Wow.
I remember like I told Jason, it's like, this is what I want to be when I grow up.
Right. Right. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah. Like legitimately.
Wow.
What do you have? How did you get here? So all these things came up. And I remember he said, Ray, it's not me, it's God. And I remember at the time, I don't have God. That was like repellent for me. Like I remember thinking, okay, relationship over.
Right.
Next.
Wait, what? Did you just say God?
Yeah, like honestly. And
Wow.
yeah, but like he just kept being awesome at his job, undeniably. And I was supporting his projects and like and by the way, this other guy came in to support me as well. His name is Jeremy Tucker. And so like me, Jeremy, and Jason were working on projects together. And at the time, like I was, again, full quarter life crisis. I was doing salsa lessons, skydiving, horseback riding.
Yeah, Ray.
I bought a Harley Davidson.
Let's go. Are you kidding me?
Like full, like I'm trying to find myself.
Oh,
like,
man.
You look at it from the outside. He's traveling. He's doing this. He's doing that. It looks great.
Yeah,
like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
And I was going to therapy at the time, which took me a while to go to. It was Tuesdays after work. I was going to therapy. Just trying to process the breakup and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But again, like from the world standards, you're doing all the right things. Like I remember trying all these things. It's like just emptiness, just empty, nothing. Yeah. It's just, I could not fill that hole. And it was incredibly frustrating. And then I remember Jeremy and I would be in meetings and workshops together. And Jason, by the way, he goes to Harvest. And I remember him always telling me, hey, you want to come to Bible study with me? It's men's study on Tuesday nights.
Nice.
Like, nah, not into that. Like, again, like initially, my initial reaction to Jason was, dude, it's great that you're a believer. I'm not that.
Yeah.
So don't keep that over there. Like, let me compartmentalize. Like, let me get your life, just not that. Let me cherry pick.
Yeah,
this.
it's definitely not that, man. I know you keep saying that, but it's not that. Just give me the wife and the 4 kids. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. But again, he was so good at his job, and Jeremy as well. And then turns out like they're both elders at Harvest. Like, so here I am, quarter life crisis, full on, get put on this thing that I didn't sign up for, literally.
Right.
It's my only option.
I love it.
And here God puts me in between 2 elders at Harvest who have these families that I've never experienced in my entire life.
Wow.
Something that I aspire to and want. And here I am in therapy trying to talk about my feelings, and like they have what I got. It's like, just tell me that. Like, I just need that.
Yeah.
And Jason would just he'd pour, like, I remember, like, for me, someone who came up in my background, it's like, you earn what you eat what you kill. So so this concept of the gospel of grace, of you did nothing to this, it's foreign to me. It's like, what do you mean I don't have to work for this? Like, I don't have to put in hours and put in my blood, sweat, and tears to get this. And that's how I felt with Jason. It's like, why is this guy, who's clearly amazing at his job, giving me the time of day? What did I do? Like, who am I? And he just kept pouring into me, like spending time with me, mentoring me. And the whole time too, he's like, Ray, it's this thing that you're looking for. It's you're not going to find it out there, salsa dancing or horseback riding.
I want to see you salsa dance, Ray. Let's go. Let's see, get those shoes on.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not. Those are
That's not happening. Huh? Come on, Carol. Take him out salsa. I want to see this.
But yeah, he would tell me, like, hey, let's just go. Let's just come to men's study with me. Just come to, and I was like, no, I'm not into that. look, I tried the whole Jesus thing, didn't work for me. Grew up with it. It's not for me. And then, again, keep in mind at this time, I'm still in my own, like, I'm the captain of my own ship. And one of the lessons that he would try to teach me is like, Ray, there's some things in life where you just can't outwork. You can spend hours planning for this meeting to get the perfect outcome, and things are just out of your control. And there's no amount of preparation can prepare you for that. And that was unacceptable in my worldview because no, like I could plan, I could have contingency plans, I could have backup plans for those. And if I spent more hours, then I can control every outcome. Ooh, that was a hard lesson that I learned. And I will never forget. So I started this role in June. By August, and I remember this, it's tattooed on my chest, actually, August 17th of that year, 2017. We have this big presentation that we spent like 2 weeks prepping for. I'm prepping the team. I'm on this developmental assignment to be a project manager. And we're in front of the people to present this to, and this person who was supposed to be a support on my team, who didn't like the fact that she was reporting to me because I'm this kid and she's with the company for however many years. And now she has to report to me, completely torpedoes the meeting. And I was livid. I literally walked out of that meeting, middle of the meeting, didn't even finish it, just walked out. And
Because you could see she's blowing the whole thing up.
Oh yeah, like deliberately torpedoed everything.
To make you look bad.
To make me look bad.
Jeez.
To make the project fail. I called Jason, basically screaming at him, it's like, you need to get this person off. I want her off. I want to file a complaint. I want to do this, do that. Like, it's like, I wanted justice. And Jason's like, this is not a mind. Like, I remember kind of yelling at him on the phone. And he's so gracious, just listening to this kid who's off his rocker.
I love it.
But just listening to me. And I remember he said, Ray, I'm yelling at him outside of the Edison building in Pomona. I'm like, if I was in court, she would lose immediately. There is no case here. Like, she would lose. She lost. Like, and I remember him saying the most frustrating thing to me. He's like, Ray, it's not a head issue. It's a heart issue. It's like, what does that mean?
Wow.
Like, in the heat of everything.
Right.
And then I hung up on him. And I'm sitting there. It's 5 o'clock. I'm on the bench outside the building. I'm watching the sunset. And I remember thinking, that's the day that my worldview collapsed, where I could control every aspect. Like, that's where I realized, okay, if I don't have control over this, someone or something better. And that was really the day. So I didn't accept Jesus. I didn't do any of that. It was the day that I realized I couldn't control things.
Wow.
August 17th.
Wow. It's outside of my control. I'm not the captain.
I'm not the captain. I can't outwork this.
Who is the captain?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if I can't control these with my own hands, someone with bigger, stronger hands better be able to hold this whole thing. And then I get this, a couple months later, I get this random gut feeling. And again, for me, I'm all about like money, status, prestige. I'm going to outwork everyone. But I get this gut feeling like I'm going to get a dog, a little puppy, because I'm quarter life crisis. I think that's the next move. You know?
Got in her dog park, baby.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to meet my wife. I'm going to get a dog.
Let's go dog park.
So I get this gut feeling, and I never go on gut feelings. It's always hard facts, analytical, optimize the options, and execute accordingly. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to go on this gut feeling, get a dog. And at the same time, I was like, I'm going to get this dog, and I'm going to name him Jamie. Or her, because Jamie, I thought at the time, was brilliant, because I was watching Game of Thrones at the time.
Okay.
And Jamie could be a boy or a girl.
Right, got it.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know if I was going to get a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
And then I started doing research on the dogs. I'm like, okay, what's the breed for me? And it came up Beagle.
Yeah. Beagle.
Beagle, Snoopy,
Yeah.
was the dog for me. So I
Yes.
do all this research, find a breeder up in Victorville, go up, find a litter of little baby puppy beagles, and I remember I had this checklist of how to pick the best puppy out of a litter. And there's two. There's this one, the breeder was like, you should pick this one. She's a nice, calm. She's very, very calm, and she'll be a good first pup. And then I saw this other pup. He was terrorizing he was like jumping in the food bowl, biting everything, and she's like, don't pick that one. And the checklist that I had was just like, don't pick the one that's running in the food bowl. Okay, she's running in the food bowl. Don't pick the one that's biting everyone, like jumping. It's like, don't pick that one. It's like, he was literally like all of those.
Yeah.
My heart, I was like, this is the one.
Wow.
Yeah. So I pick him.
Yeah.
Pick him, like, and now I'm doing like all the research, like tell me the parents, the health, and this and the other. And then randomly I'm like, when was he born? Before I'm taking him home. And she said, August 17th, the day that, and I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So I was like, okay, that's the first big coincidence in my life. And I was like, okay, that's kind of a big coincidence. The day that I decide.
Because you know that date.
Yes.
You know that date well.
Yes, very well.
This is a torpedo day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget that date. And then I'm like, okay, that's a coincidence. Okay, what does Jamie mean? And I look up Jamie, and you know what it means? It means one who follows.
Whoa.
And I was like, what? Like, so
Whoa.
this random gut feeling that I got, like, to get a dog and to name him Jamie. I thought, again, at the time, I thought it was me, clever, but it's like this one who follows. And it's like,
whoa, Ray, come on.
Holy. That's the day that, that's the day that I realized, okay, second big coincidence. It's just, since that day, honestly, the coincidences, quote unquote coincidences, have not stopped. So the next, I'm trying to think about like, I'm trying to think about like the next big one, which was I was going to therapy at the time. And I was going Tuesday nights to therapy. And again, I just get this puppy. All these coincidences are happening, and I'm done with therapy. Like, I've done like 20 sessions or whatever, so I'm done with therapy. And Jason, again, Old Faithful, asked me, hey, you want to come to men's study? We're starting a new series, Nehemiah. And I was like, no. like I was like, when is it? He's like, Tuesday nights. That's like the day that I was going to. So I'm free. Like, my therapy literally
You
just
have no excuse now.
Yeah, like, I'm free. I'm absolutely free. And again, starting this new book, whatever, I didn't know what it meant. And I said, all right, Jason, you're asking me like every week. So to get you off my back, I'll say, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So I go
Persistence.
to Valor Men's Harvest Bible Study.
All right.
Tuesday nights.
This is Riverside, Orange County campus, Riverside.
Riverside.
Okay.
So I was driving from Pomona to Riverside in traffic every Tuesday.
Wow.
So again, the crazy thing was Nehemiah. He's the wall builder, the project manager, the person that I'm trying to be. Like, I'm trying to be a project manager. And I'm in this Bible study that just started, a new series that just started on how to project manage, like, from start to finish.
Amazing.
Like, I remember sitting there, I was like, no, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I remember I was so angry, actually.
Wow.
Because
After the first study or after a couple?
after the first one.
First one.
The very first one, I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
And Pastor Brad is the one that's preaching at the time, or doing the study. And it's set up where you do a message, then you break out into small groups. So that's kind of the cadence.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and he's talking about this overview of this person building the wall, and he's talking about, you got to pray. And I remember that infuriated me. I was like, okay, that's great, but I don't believe in that. That's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's great that you have all. And then I remember I was like really irked about it. Then I went into the small group and we had a conversation. And I remember just, I don't even know what it was, like some kind of like overwhelming anger to a point where I literally, when it got like when they wanted me to share, I just literally got up and left.
Wow.
And I was so angry, I couldn't even say anything.
Wow.
And I literally left. I'm sitting outside of the Harvest campus and I'm in tears. It's the first time in my life. Like, I want to scream, but I can't say anything. Like, God literally shut my mouth.
Wow.
And then Jason comes out. He just sits with me. This guy, I think about this. It's like, who is this guy? Why is he doing this? Like, this kid who's clearly emotional, who's off his, like crazy, like just completely rude, like walked out, like now crying, like what's going on? Like, but he just sat with me. And I'll never forget that. It was code, but he just sat. It was like 10 p.m.
Wow.
Like, it was night. Like everyone had left, and he just sat there.
Wow.
And he shared the story of Saul of Tarsus getting transformed into Paul.
Whoa.
And I just it didn't really register for me at the time. But I remember just, again, this overwhelming feeling of grace. Who is this guy? Like, why is he pouring into me? I'm like, I'm giving him every excuse to walk away. And here he is pouring into me. And again, here, Tuesday night, family, full working job, has a side thing, family, wife, kids. Like, I mean,
Wow.
And sitting with the crying kid at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Like, who does that? Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, yeah, I just remember like that kind of like kept me going back. And I remember like I would sit in traffic every Tuesday after that. And it was, people would ask me like, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you going all the way out to Riverside to do a men's study?
Wow.
And honestly, I didn't have an answer.
Wow.
All I knew is the closer I got to the Harvest campus in Riverside, getting off, I would just feel lighter.
Wow.
Like chains, heavy chains on my heart, just on my shoulders. I would just, the closer I got to Harvest,
Praise God.
the lighter I felt.
Wow.
I didn't know any of this at the time. It's crazy. Like, I mean, and yeah, so again, like, so I just kept going, building, getting, like, hearing these words. So we went to Nehemiah, who was a project manager, and I thought that was a pretty big coincidence.
Yeah.
Then we went right into Esther.
Wow.
And I remember, again, I'd never forget, like, the feeling that when they did the introduction to Esther, there's like, Pastor Brad was saying, you will not see God mentioned in this book, but you'll see his fingerprints everywhere.
Oh.
It's like, oh, okay, I know a little bit about this.
Let's go.
You're not going to see it, but you're going to see God all over this story.
Wow.
And it stuck with me. That just definitely stuck with me. The next year, so a quarter life crisis in 2017, going into one thing that I try to do, because that's what you do, is you create like New Year's resolutions and goals and whatnot, like things that you're going to do. And at the time, I was on this development opportunity, trying to become a project manager, which I couldn't get through the 7 years work experience. This thing that I was on where I met Jason and had all the amazing experiences was over. So now I had to go back. Despondent, because I thought that they would make me a project manager. Like, that's the way that I would have liked for it to go. The puppy that I got died that year as I was going to Bible study every week.
Wow.
So it was really rough, like really rough.
This is the end of the year?
End of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So start of January, I'm lost again.
Wow. That was your friend, your companion.
Yeah. Yeah. He was my little baby. I had dog sitters twice a day come.
Wow. like, take care of him, pamper him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I had a motorcycle at the time because that was part of my identity.
Yeah.
And like I got him, like I was gonna get a little sidecar with like the little helmet.
Yeah.
And the goggles. You know?
Oh, fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it all
Snoopy sidecar.
Yeah, exactly. but yeah, I mean, all of that came crumbling down. And yeah, that was the day, that was the time I was suicidal.
Oh, that's rough because that, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like everything that I worked for. So it's like, I remember thinking at the time, like, so I'm going to go and overcome this mountain just to come and get leveled like this. And what is it all for? Like, I'm out. Like, I'm done with this. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of grinding and working. I'm done with it. Like I'm done with life.
So this is end of 2017. You're thinking about taking your life potentially.
Yeah. And then I hear a gospel song because I had a Christian playlist at the time because I was going to men's study. So I kept a little Spotify list of all the songs that minister that resonated with me. And I hear Phil Wickham's Living Hope song that brought me to my knees and just really pulled me out of the darkness. So that kind of gave me the strength to endure. Phil Wickham for Living Hope song.
So you shout out to Phil. So you would
Saved my life, literally.
so you would be you would just keep this on repeat, or you play it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about like parking my car into a garage and just going to sleep. That's kind of how I was going to do it because I'm a coward and didn't want to do it any other way. But anyway.
You're just feeling empty because you'd lost a dog. It was like so many things had gone right, and then everything just keeps going wrong.
And then went wrong again. And I remember at that time, I had no other option. So in February, I started going to, I started looking at MBA classes. Just like, okay, that's the answer. You work for a couple years, you go to a big university, you get your MBA, then you go make $1 million. Like that's kind of the path. So I was like, okay, let's look at some MBA. I remember I went to UCLA's part-time MBA open house in February, and loved it there. Loved the campus, loved the people. And I remember as I'm walking out and as I'm leaving, I feel this gut feeling again. Here it is again. Like this is not it. This is not, and again, logically, that's what I should have done. But for me at the time, I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. Maybe down the road, but it's not for me. Right when I have that moment, Jason calls me. Just checking in on me. Just like, I remember it was a cold, windy UCLA morning. And I remember he's just called. He's like, hey, Ray, you're on my mind. Just thinking about you. Love you.
Wow.
Checking in on you.
Wow.
Right when I internally think I'm leaving the campus, think this is not for me. And here's this confirmation from my mentor, Jason. And I remember I sat there, again, I'm an emotional wreck at the time. I'm crying. And I remember feeling warm. It was cold. It was a cold, windy day, but I remember feeling warm, a warm embrace. I felt content for the first time in my life. I'm drinking to black out. I'm not sleeping. I'm trying to work my way through. And for the first time in a long time, I felt contentment. The thing that I've been searching for, I feel that in a courtyard at UCLA, walking out for no logical reason. There's no reason why I should have felt that, but
It was just after the phone call with Jason?
yes, yeah.
What did he say?
Courtyard.
He was just checking in.
Checking it in, and in my mind, again at that time, I was like, okay. My next career move is MBA. And at the time, I was like, nope, it's not for me. I don't know what. Okay, if I'm not going to do this, got to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do after. But again, I didn't know why. But it was just this warm feeling of contentment, fulfillment, peace. Peace is something that you hear about that, but unless you've been through some fiery trials, you don't understand the power of that word, peace. And that's what I felt that time. And it just really wrecked me in a great way. I remember just feeling whole, feeling like I don't have a clue what I'm doing this year, but everything's going to be okay. I have no idea. I have no logical reason to feel this way, but it's going to be okay.
Yes.
Then in March, this is February, and then in March of that year, I find out that there's been a bidding war over me. So the group that I went to, outside of my knowledge, has been fighting to pull me over into that group.
Whoa.
Make me a project manager.
Wow.
This thing that I'm trying to attain. Nothing
Out of nowhere.
I did. No,
You did nothing.
I've been crying at Harvest. I've been crying at UCLA, breaking down, yelling at Jason. That's what I've been doing.
Wow.
So there's this, and the group that I went back to that I started Edison with wouldn't let me go, but they wouldn't promote me either. So now there's this HR, directors are involved, bidding war over trying to make me a project manager. And then I get this call March, we're going to start you. We're going to direct place you. You don't even have to interview for this job. You're going to get directly placed into this position.
What?
This position that, people work 7 years to attain. And here I am in this direct placement, not even having to interview for
You're
it.
how many years in?
I started 2014. That's 2018, 4 years in.
4 years in.
Yeah.
So about halfway through, or a little more than halfway through, and you're getting promoted.
Directly placed into this position that people spend 7 years just qualifying for, and then another couple of years fighting for.
Wow.
And I get direct place into this role, and the job was awesome too. It's operations.
So they just call you and say you got the job. You're directly placed there.
Yep.
That's it.
We're hiring you.
And you're
on my
like,
team.
and you just wake up the next day and you're a project manager.
Yep. You start in March 19th, you start. I was like, what's going on here?
Unreal.
So I get that call. I celebrate. I go to Nashville.
Because you got to celebrate Nashville, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I love
shows, go to some concerts.
I love
some good food.
I love country music.
Yeah.
Because I played baseball. So gotta go to Nashville if you like
Fun.
country music. So so I went to Nashville with my sister. First time we traveled together.
That's cool.
And the other thing I forgot to mention is in college, I racked up a lot of debt because I was living on my own, credit cards, balance transfer, trying to make it work, minimum payments.
Right.
And I found Dave Ramsey in college.
You did?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
You found Dave Ramsey in college, the non-believer.
Yes. Because I was looking up, I was trying to transfer, I remember at the time, $3,000 balance from one card to another card, and with an 18-month no interest, but you have to pay the transfer fee or whatever. So that's the shell game I was playing.
Right.
Okay, how can I transfer this to a no interest and I just keep racking up debt?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, and then it pops up, and I start reading and listening to his podcast. And Dave Ramsey, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He put me on a path to get out of debt and be more frugal with my spending, be more aware of my spending. So since college, I've been listening to Dave Ramsey every week.
Wow.
His every day he's on there.
Wow.
So he's also headquarters in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
So so I go to Nashville for 2 reasons.
Okay.
Or 3 reasons. 1, to celebrate because I'm a project manager. 2, country music, and 3, Dave Ramsey.
Fun.
And I remember we're in Nashville, go to Ramsey's, watch his show that I listen to every day. Watch him live.
Wow.
It's surreal.
Wow.
And I brought my planner. And I'm at the time, I'm just I'm waiting for the commercial break, because what Dave does is after the break, he comes out and he meets the people in the lobby. And I'm like, Dave, you got to sign my planner. And he takes my planner, he signs it, Romans 12:2, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't know Romans 12. So then he goes back and does the show. And I'm Googling, Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. And it
By the renewing of your mind.
Yes. Do not be conformed to this world hit me like a ton of bricks, because in February of that year, a month ago, I was thinking, what is the next logical step for me, which is an MBA. You work for a couple of years, you become an MBA, then you go C-suite. That's the logical path. Do not be conformed. Don't follow that path.
Wow.
And there was this feeling that I got And it brought me right back to UCLA, that feeling that this is not the path. Go another path that you can't see, you don't understand, makes no logical sense. Follow that path. And that, so I was telling my sister, what is going on? Like, this guy been listening to this since years.
Yeah.
He writes Romans 12:2, which is so specific
Amazing.
to me at this time.
Wow.
Like, at this moment, this is crazy.
Right.
And again, just like everything, God shows up powerfully. And I'm like, cool, next thing. Let's go, get some food from some Nashville hot chicken or something. The next day, I asked my sister, so I was like, so where do you want to go? Like, you want to go to Battlefield? Let's go. Pick one. And she picked a Battlefield 2 hours outside of Nashville. I was so angry. I was like, this entire state, this city is a battlefield, and you have to pick the one 2 hours outside. But fine.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. In my head, I was like, just bite the bullet, go. We drive 2 hours outside of Nashville. We get to this Civil War museum, and then it's the worst museum ever. Like, it's not even a museum. They give you this little pamphlet, and you have to go on a self-driving tour of the different battlefields, and there's a little pamphlet. And I remember we just drove 2 hours, wasted all this. We came all the way to Nashville to drive 2 hours outside the city just to go to this random battlefield that my sister picked. And I asked her, why'd you pick this one? And she's like, I don't know. I wanted to.
You don't know.
I wanted to go here. But again, I was like, fine. And then like halfway through this tour, it stops you at this little museum. So you go in, and this little museum is like trinkets of the Civil War. And it's like, okay, here's a Union uniform, here's their satchel, here's a canteen. And then you just keep walking around this museum. And then there's this room that you turn the corner, and there's a room. There's nothing else in this room, just a glass box. And there's a light inside, and there's a book opened up in this glass box, and it's Bible. I read on the top, Bible recovered from the battlefield. And it's opened up halfway. The first verse up there is Romans 12:2. And I'm just like, again, just confirmation. And
You must have been leveled, right?
I was crying. I was literally, again, crying. It was a big part of my journey. Just broken. Brokenness.
Wow.
Who am I? How specific is what are the chances of all of that lining up the way it does? It just completely leveled everything.
Wow.
Just unbelievable grace, unbelievable, powerful story of God showing up in my life. And these are just the big ones. I mean, almost every week since 2017, all those years ago, has been these moments.
God's been showing himself to you.
Powerfully.
Yeah.
Very powerfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so was there a defining moment where you felt all of a sudden full surrender to the Lord? Do you felt that? How did that come about?
Yeah. I think it was that moment in Nashville when Romans 12:2, because again, introduced to God, or 2017, August 17th, 2017 is the day I realized I don't have things under control. Someone better have it. And then God shows up powerfully, keeps on showing up. It took all the way till March of 2018 before I realized, okay, God is real. This is too much to be a coincidence. Because at the time, it's just that's just a coincidence.
Right.
This is random.
Right.
And it's just at that time, it was so undeniable.
Right.
It was this cannot be a coincidence. And yeah, that was the day.
Right. And this has become, a couple things. So I love that. Do not be conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Do not be conformed to this world. And it's understanding that intellectually and then applying that in real time. That's full repentance.
For sure.
I'm not going to be conformed to this world any longer. I'm going to be conformed to Jesus.
Yes.
I'm going to be conformed to his way. He is the captain.
Yes.
I'm opening my hands. I relinquish authority.
Yes.
He's Lord and Savior over my life. I am no longer the captain of my own ship.
Yeah.
And that's it's a powerful thing to happen, you know. And I love the details, and I love the story, and I love Ray, that this has become kind of the theme of your life.
Yeah.
Like these detail, like following, like you've coined these phrases, like amongst the leadership here at Legacy, following the breadcrumbs of God.
Yeah.
That he's dropping breadcrumbs everywhere, that his fingerprints are all over everything.
Oh yeah.
And now, like, you have these, it's like the Ray goggles, you know, the Ray glasses. It's like when you put them on, you're looking through the lens trying to figure out what God is up to.
For sure.
You know, somebody just sent this to me. Chase Arrington sent it to me just this last week. Chase and Nico, they were at our church for a long time.
Yeah.
He sent me an RFK video. I'm going to show it to you after this, Ray.
All right.
And RFK says when JFK died, he went. I think it was, or maybe it was his dad is. Anyways, yes. So when either his dad, somebody had died in his family close to him, and he had spun into, when he was young, I think a teenager, and he went on a binge of heroin for like 14 years.
RFK. Wow.
Like completely partying.
Wow.
Good-looking young guy, like just a
Kennedy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he looked like. I mean, he just looked like a stud, you know, through his 20s. But I guess he was like spaced out, like he was on heroin, just drugged out, and all of this. And he was trying to find himself, and he was trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And he was sitting somewhere after going through therapy and like trying to get sober and the whole thing. And he ends up doing so. And I guess, I don't know, I can't remember the exact details, but a book is sitting on a desk next to him, or some tabletop at a coffee shop. I don't remember where he was at, but it's just sitting there, and he decides to pick it up and starts thumbing through it. And it's a book called, I think, Synchronicity.
Okay.
Have you heard this?
No.
Oh, man. Synchronicity, I think, is the name of the book. And he starts to read through it, and it's, I forget the author's name, but the guy is basically starting to convince the reader as to the fact that there are no coincidences in the universe.
Yes.
And that everything is synchronized in a way, and that things fall into place.
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically saying that, you know how, he gives an illustration, he's like, you know how when all of a sudden you'll be thinking of a person that you haven't talked to in like 5 years, and then the next 5 minutes the phone rings and it's them.
Yes.
You're just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I haven't thought about them in 5 years. How are they calling me right now at the moment that I was thinking about them?
Yeah.
And that all of these breadcrumbs, the author is saying all of them are God trying to talk to you.
Yes.
Trying to say something to you.
Yes.
And who do I think of course?
Yes.
Raymond Wang, dude. Who has, okay, so you got to understand, Ray, because, you know, I went into the deserts of Mexico with John Corson, and he was trying to help us see, you know, God through everything, and watching him in these mystical ways through the Word of God and also through life.
Yeah.
And I love this stuff. I love when the moons align and everything, the planets align, and all of a sudden, for such a time as this,
oh man,
this is happening right now, and you're just like, I can't believe this. You know.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing. One of the secret mystical things for me.
Yeah.
And it's happened way too many times. Just happened way too many times. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Too much repetition in the same thing. And it's too often when I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm upset about something, I'm troubled, I'm overwhelmed.
Yes.
All of a sudden, a hummingbird will show up and look me in the face. And I will be sitting there.
Praise God.
And I'll be bothered, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it has happened in so many crazy ways. Call me mystical, call me crazy, call me whatever you want. But this is one of my little secrets that I think is just for me. Why? Because the hummingbird is the miracle bird. It is the only bird that flies backwards and upside down. It flaps its wing like over 100 times. Or whatever it is, you know, per second, some crazy amount. And it is the miracle bird. And so I'll be sitting in my office, I'll be sitting in my car, I'll be bugged, by something, and all of a sudden I'll turn my head and there it just flies up and just looks directly at me. I'll be like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And it's basically, to me, it's the Lord saying,
Yes.
"What are you mad about?
Yes.
What are you doing? Have I not loved you? Have I not served you? Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
I got it under control. I'm the miracle.
Yeah.
I'm the miracle maker. I'm the miracle worker."
Yes. Amen.
And Ray, you are a hummingbird of sorts that have been sent into legacy to remind me of these goods. You know, it's just, there are not a lot of people who think like you. I think you do inspire a lot of the brothers, a lot of people in church to think and to look for the fingerprints of God in everything.
For sure.
And it's been beautiful to watch. And
Yeah.
you have been, Ray, tell us about it.
Yeah. Can you, so like that, like, first of all, when you say no coincidences, like, I think the first part of my testimony is that there are no, that's the biggest thing. The first thing I learned about my walk with God, nothing happens by accident. Actually, the first thing I wrote up here is no coincidences. Like, that's that's the first part of my entire testimony.
No coincidences here.
Literally.
It's step one.
No, like, that's where my story started. And actually, you know, Jason,
This is amazing, Ray. Look at, he's documented the dates to the exact day of what happened and the steps.
Oh yeah. I could go to court with this.
2016, August 30th, 2016, May 5th, 2017, June 5th, 2017, June 11th, 2017, August 1st, August 12th, August 17th, September 2nd, September 9th, September 11th, August 3rd, October 3rd, October 10th.
Yeah.
And that's just the first page, but Ray has this mind that details dates.
Yeah.
And is very, very specific and watching closely what's up to.
Yeah.
He's the journalist of God. That's the Almighty.
The scribe. Yes. You know, even when I, you know, come to Legacy, so I'll tell you the Legacy story.
Yes.
Jason, again, I'm going to Harvest, plugged in this time. It's my routine now. Like, once I get like locked in, that's like, I'm going. Like, I don't care if it's 3 hours of traffic on a Tuesday night, I'm going to Harvest. Like, and he's telling me like, hey, there's this, you should start coming to church on Sundays. Like, nah, I'm good. Like, again, I have to have it my way. Right? Like, I do Tuesday nights Bible study.
How long was that going on?
Like a year.
Okay.
Give or take.
Interesting. So it was just a Tuesday night commitment for you. That was church.
That was it. Yeah.
Love it.
And then Jason starts pestering me again. And saying, and I mean that in the most loving way. He's like, you should get plugged in on a Sunday. And I was like, kept telling him no. But again, he just finds opportunities to bring it up. He's like, hey, and he knows how I am too. So God bless Jason. He's like, hey, there's this guy, and this was the only way that he was going to do it. There's this guy from Harvest that planted a church closer to where you live, because he knew I was in Pasadena. I was like, all right, now I'm good sitting in traffic going to Riverside. That's my thing. He's like, I think you should really try it. And he's just like, I was like, he kept bringing it up. And again, just like I did before, I was like, all right, I'll go just so I can say to you, I went. It's not for me. That's when I walked in. So that's me going to Legacy.
Wow. Right.
And I was just going reluctantly at first to be able to tell Jason next week, hey, I tried it. Not for me. Thanks. I'll see you at Bible study on Tuesday nights. I walk in the gym doors at Legacy, and on the big screen, the day that I walk in says, "You are not here by accident."
Let's go.
It's like, and it's only there for a second, and it had to be exactly when I walked in at that exact time, and I knew, okay, all right, God, I see. Okay, so this is where I need to be. So I started coming on Sunday. And it wasn't until I went to the Roots class, Dave, where so I started coming. So my routine then became Sundays at Legacy, Tuesday nights, Harvest Bible study, men's group. And then at the Roots class, I came up to you after you were teaching one of your lessons. It's like, hey, Pastor Josh, so I'm new to this faith thing, but I'm coming to Legacy on Sundays, and I'm doing Harvest Bible study. That's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, choose.
Is that what I said?
You said choose. It stunned me.
Sorry, Ray.
I was like, did you really just say that? You said choose. Of all the things I thought you were going to say, that was the last thing I thought you were going to say.
Wow.
But you said choose, commit, because you have to start planting roots somewhere. And I struggled with that a lot. And then April 2019, I wrote it down here somewhere, but that's the day I chose legacy.
Wow.
I stopped going to Bible study
Wow.
at Harvest.
Wow.
I started getting plugged in here at Legacy. So,
Unbelievable.
yeah, I mean, God's
Wow.
all over this story.
Praise God.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible story.
2019.
Yeah.
And Ray, you've been documenting
Oh, yeah.
for how long?
Since so I started in college just as a way for me to manage my time, and then it just became a habit that, and again, I do it because initially it was practical, manage my time, manage my schedule. Then it became, I need to manage my schedule, and I have a horrible memory, so I got to write it down. So if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. And then it just became a thing I started doing. Became therapeutic. It became there's all these things are happening, and it's so defragmented in my mind until I write it down, and then I get to reflect and sit and think about it, and then it becomes. Then I get the epiphanies, and I can see God at work. But life is just happening. And it's happening so fast. So it's a way for me to kind of slow things down.
So what is this thing that you brought here?
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is probably the last story, and it's an amazing story. It's my adventure book. This is, so everything that we just talked about was my life. The joke is BC, before Christ.
Before Christ.
Or before Carol.
Before Carol.
Yeah, so this is the book that I wrote, that we created, that documents the story of God working. So I have been experiencing God work in miraculous, undeniable ways that I have documented in my life. And it's been this personal relationship.
So this is before Carol, after Carol.
Before Carol. Okay. Oh, no, this is after Carol.
Yeah, this is after Carol. This is before Carol.
Before Carol.
So what's in the gold page? What's in the gold page?
This is just every year I have the same journal. So this is my 2025 journal.
Can I see it?
Yes, absolutely.
And this is this is it, Ray. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I've been trying to say. So now, you listeners, like you have no idea what I'm about to show you right now. But when I'm talking about writing down details and like documenting what's going on, because I want to talk about this a bit more, and then we want to get to the pinnacle here. Okay, but this floored me because, again, like, it's a very unique approach, and I'm very fascinated as to the process and what happens to a person who does something like that. So we got to talk about this, Ray, for a second. But yes. Ray, this is your 2025
journal.
Yes, and we're in February right now, so it's only been about a month.
Yep.
And let's see what's happened in just a month here. I'm going to open up here to the opening pages, and here we go. So. All right, Ray, this is wild. Here we go. So, and voila.
Oh, yeah, that's December.
Are you
January.
Kidding me? So these little lines, dude, these little details, these little pictures. I mean, that's got to be like 2 size font.
Yes.
10 is already hard to read. This is like 2. But man, I mean, the documentation is incredible, and the venting and the flushing of your thoughts, and the putting down, and just the thought to heart, to fingers, to pen, to page, back to fingers, back to heart, back to mind. That process and that repetition, that scribe, repetition. and then to eyes, really, then you're watching yourself reading it, and then it's almost, as you're reading it, it's processing again through the ears. So it's like it's working through the senses, and there's something magical, taking place in this.
Yes.
And this is very rare. There aren't a lot of people on the planet who do this anymore, but I have a similar journal to this, font size 7. But it's me journaling in the deserts of Mexico, and I'm writing down every detail what's happening. And I mean, you open these pages, and I'm like, I'm journaling about what the bird's up to, and what it's trying to tell me, and the way the sun is reflecting off of these birds, and when the petal of the flower and the leaf, and just all these wild descriptive things that that I don't even slow down enough to think about anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the magic, Ray, is that you're slowing down. Like God's fingerprints are all over the scene.
Yes.
Like if you take the detective dusting stuff out, he's all over it.
Yes.
It's just you don't have eyes to see it.
Yes.
And you don't slow down time enough to actually cherish it. But Ray, you're attempting to do it. And you drop nuggets on us from time to time. You give us gold, slide some bags across the table. And, dude, we get fired up, dude. We're like, I'm rich. I am a rich man.
Oh, man.
And so I love it, Ray. I mean, again, this is just the beginning, I mean, I don't, it's amazing. I see it. It's each day. I see.
Yeah.
So it's literally just it's like a journaling calendar where there is blocks of lines there for every single day.
Yep.
And you're just writing out each day what you see God up to.
Yeah. And a lot of times as I'm writing it, I don't see it until I go back and reflect on it and I look at it. And I'm piecing everything that's happened together, and just blows my mind.
So what are you actually doing? I mean, are you writing at the beginning of the day, during the day, end of the day?
Yeah, so my routine is I wake up and I do a Bible study first. So I just read the Bible, and I just I journal my thoughts and my takeaways, the message, and then I just go about my day and start writing big highlights like work or working on the home remodel, building a table, all that stuff that's happening. Just
that table you're building is sweet, man.
I can't wait. We're gonna have many dinners.
What kind of wood?
Yeah, African mahogany.
Yeah,
dude.
African mahogany, and this is big wood.
Oh yeah, huge,
massive pieces of wood that Ray got, and you're piecing this thing together yourself.
Oh yeah.
Man after my own heart.
12-foot.
Let's go.
Dining room table. It's gonna be great.
So cool.
Yeah. But yeah, just I'm writing down just things happening. A lot of times I'm not really seeing it until I reflect back on it. So,
what if? How many years have you been doing this?
Since college, so over 10 easily.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
When you analyze the process again of just writing your thoughts down and processing them, and what's happening? What's the gold in the process?
Yeah. So for me, I have undiagnosed ADD. I think. I don't know. I never really figured it out. But my mind is always racing to the next thing. I'm never living in the present. So what writing and journaling does to me is it forces my mind to focus, hyper focus on the present and become there. Otherwise, my mind will just run off. That's why I kind of struggled in school, I think. Because I just never figured that out until I went to college, actually. So, yeah. So, I mean, and it's also the discipline. There's a lot of times where it's a hassle. It forces me to get up earlier. It forces me to write when I shouldn't, when I forget. If I miss a day, it's gonna be very clear. So.
Right.
So it forces that discipline. And yeah, again, part of it too is God has blessed and cursed me with a horrible memory. And because of that horrible memory, I just can't recall things. And if I didn't write it down, I would have no memory of this. Yeah. And it's just
Have you found that as you've written things down, you remember, you automatically remember more?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Helped me with my memory. Yeah.
Because it's you can recall some pretty specific things now.
Yes.
I mean, very specific.
Absolutely. Yeah, the joke is God gave me, Carol is my exact polar opposite. She has this memory like a steel trap. She's like the she's the brilliant scholar, 4.0. Dave Ramsey has this joke where he's like, and I steal it from him. He's like, you graduated summa cum laude 4.0. I graduated thank the laude. And that's me. I graduated college, thank the Lord. And Carol is the 4.0 AP courses, extracurricular, or complete opposite. She has a great memory. I have a horrible memory. Like, we're literally polar opposites. Yes. It's hilarious how God put us together.
She's an amazing woman, Ray.
Yeah.
And he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And you have found an incredible lady. And
yeah.
I just it's cool because I got to watch, like I remember you, Ray, coming to me, and then like, kind of back and forth in your mind, is this the Lord? You're trying to follow the breadcrumbs, I want to know, is this the Lord? Is this the Lord? And I just remember, like, I think this is it, man. I think she's the one, like this is, I can't believe it, and now looking on this side of it, like when I just look at Ray and Carol, they're at church and this is the work. It's like it's always been. Like it's like it can't be anything else.
Yeah.
It's like Ray without Carol, Carol without Ray. Like it doesn't. This is the way it's supposed to be.
For sure.
Yeah. God makes things beautiful in its time, huh?
Oh yeah.
Incredible.
And that's
she is the match to the Raymond Wang.
It was about this time before BC, before Carol, that I was just dating, and I remember the sermon, your Valentine's Day sermon, which was it was, I'll never forget it. You were talking about Adam and Eve, and Adam was working, and he said that you made a joke saying like. Before God created Eve, there was no Eve. So Adam could have been walking in the garden looking for Eve when she wasn't there. And like every dude out there, he would have found a big hairy ape gorilla. and like every dude out there, it's like, hey, she looks kind of cute. Just like
that's all you would have found is big hairy apes out there. Oh, I love it.
I was all over my chair. I will never forget that. I remember laughing so hard. But your point was, go on doing your work. If you're in your single years, be single and just do the work that God has put before you. Don't go looking for Eve before God has even created her, because you're not ready. She's not ready. The stars haven't aligned. God is not His time, not His way. His time, not our way, our time, which has been, a big part of my walk with God is just trusting in His time more and more. And that hit me so hard because that was the year. It was 2022. Just got back from Italy for 3 weeks in Italy. He gave me this great steakhouse in Florence that I went to.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Was it Pegasus, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The guy came out. He didn't even, like in Italy, like in America, it's like the land of options. Like, oh, you want a coffee? How many pumps of sugar? How many this, that? How do you like your steak? In Italy, they're just like, they don't even, like, you want red or white wine?
Right.
You want a steak? And they just show it to you. And then they bring it out to you rare.
You don't get to tell them how you like it.
Exactly.
So the steak's incredible. And shout out, John Briscoe's the one who recommended it to us. Katie and I went there on our honeymoon.
Yes.
And he's like, you got to go to the steak shop. It's amazing. It's in Florence. And so, oh
man.
And I think it's Pegasus. I think that's the name of it. And so we show up, and I don't even know if Katie was stoked on it, but I was stoked. It was just like this slab of meat, like tower, like slab of meat, because I think it's still on the bone. It comes out. You basically just take this thing and throw it on a super hot fire and just char the whole outside.
Wow.
But then the inside is like butter. It's like it's like butter raw.
So good.
Yeah. And it was nice.
It was delicious.
Yeah, good, great tasting.
It was amazing.
So you just finished that. You were 3 weeks in Italy.
Yeah, and at the time I was thinking about leaving Edison. I remember I was at that steakhouse in Florence. Again, I'm in Italy for 3 weeks eating pasta and drinking wine, and I remember I got a job offer from Deloitte. Yeah. So at the steakhouse, right before I eat the steak, like I literally came
You got the job offer there.
via email.
Whoa.
I remember got the email notification, offer from Deloitte to be a senior consultant, and I'm about to eat the steak.
What?
like, I was like, I remember at the time, like it wasn't for me, and turns out that they made me. That's when I got promoted at work again, like just crazy. At Edison. Yeah, that's when they made me a senior manager at Edison. And
Incredible.
again, like, so there's a whole story there. So I'm gonna skip all that, but just God's been all over that. It's I tried it my way, and I ended up in a quarter life crisis, suicidal, frustrated beyond belief. And then I found God and just started going to Harvest, just started going to Legacy, looking for God. And before I knew it, I woke up one day, and I'm not a project manager. I'm hiring project managers. I'm hiring senior project managers.
Unbelievable.
And it's like, who's this kid? Who am I, God? Like that you have brought me this far. And it's incredible. Like people ask me, like, how do you become that? And like, so I was like, I don't know. It's not me. It's God.
Yeah. What's the
like,
secret, Ray? What's the secret to the young
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. Keep your eyes on God. Like there's this need to control your destiny. There's this need to network or figure out your own way, but surrender to God, surrender to His way, seek Him, seek to know Him more. Yeah, I mean, just yesterday, my devotion was, I'm in Psalms, and it's trust in God and do good. And I listened to John Corson preach on that this morning.
Yes.
And he's like, if you don't trust God, you're not going to do good. And it's just like, that's simple.
Pretty simple.
I was like, that's it. That's everything.
Wow.
Trust in God and you will do good.
Yes.
You don't trust in God, you're not going to do good.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
And by the way, it was on one of the early episodes of the Stoke House where you talked about your John Corson and your, and I was like, oh, who is this guy? And I started listening to a sermon since your first podcast, I think is when you dropped it. And it's been, John Corson's has been dropping bombs on me.
Yes. Yeah. He's got endless, man. It's so good. All the way through the Bible.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Great spiritual insight and wisdom.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
eyes on Jesus.
Oh, so good.
Just Jesus, man.
Profound. And yeah, his message is just incredible. The way that he dissects the word, his perspective, it's amazing. But, going back to your Valentine's Day sermon
Yes.
to me during my single days.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that sermon hit me pretty hard. And
Don't find a gorilla.
yeah, just like, okay, I guess it's for me, just continue doing the work before me, and I had to just trust God that He would bring my Eve. Again, all this BC, before Carol. And then that's what this book is. So
Yes.
this book, it's...
This documents the journey to Carol.
The first thing I wrote in here is Joshua 4, 1 through 7. It tells a story of when Joshua brought the people of Israel across the Jordan River. And in the middle of crossing the Jordan River, and I can imagine this. Here's Joshua, this young leader, supposed to fill the shoes of Moses, like the guy who wrote the 10 Commandments. And who's this guy that now has to fill that guy's shoes? This young kid. He has to lead Israel across the Jordan River. And in the middle of them crossing the Jordan River, he stops all the leaders of Israel, says, go, every leader of tribe, pick up a stone. 1 stone for each tribe, 12 stones total. Carry it on your shoulders. So I'm picturing these boulders that these leaders of the tribes had to carry out on Joshua's orders. Because the first thing that they were going to do is build a memorial to remember God.
Yes.
And that's what this is. This is my memorial.
Wow.
These are my stones.
I love it.
It's a painful process to do, but it kind of documents like my story with Carol. And the first entry is March 5th, 2022. First date with Carol.
Where'd you guys go?
O-Town Ramen Spot.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and even to get to this point, the doors that God closed with the other people, crazy stories in and of itself. But Here I am, March 5th, first date with Carol. And then literally that was a Saturday. That next Wednesday, Bible study, men's study, I come up to you after men's study and I ask you, okay, how do I did it my way all this time. How do I do this God's way? And you said, if you're dating seriously and you're both pursuing God, you'll know within 8 months, you'll be married within 2 years. Again, stunned me. Like in my head, I was like, this is crazy. This guy's lost it. Like, never said that to you, but now
Yeah.
that's my heart. Like,
I get it.
Like, yeah, it's just like, no, within 8 months?
Yeah.
No, like I'll know maybe in 2 years.
Yeah.
Married maybe in 5 years. That's
Right.
kind of my timeline.
Right.
But so that's my way.
Right.
That's what this documents. And we're just, going through.
Got to show some of these pictures. Let me show.
yeah.
Maybe Dave can take pictures, but I'll show.
Yeah.
Here we go. So this is the ramen shop. Yeah.
Or that's a home cooked meal that
home
she
cooked
made
meal.
you.
Okay.
Outside of that. Yeah.
Okay. And then here's
Traveling.
Here are Ray and Carol, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is kind of scrapbook with
yes.
documentation.
Yes.
So cool.
And again, so everything in my walk with God has been God showing up specifically for me in powerful, undeniable ways. I never would have expected him to show up in both our lives. So it's been one of the coolest things ever for both of us to be. Now God shows up and I look at Kara, I was like, did that just happen? Did you just see that? Like, are you kidding? So I get to experience God's like behind the scenes director's cut, like with someone. And it's been incredible. Yeah. So like, I mean, the first time that happened, we were visiting her sister Vicky up in Portland, and Alex, her husband. And I remember going to their church up there in Portland. And the first song that came up during the worship sermon, worship was Living Hope, my song. It's like, this is the first time I'm traveling with her, and I'm going to meet her sister for the first time.
Wow.
I go to her church on Sundays.
The first song.
And the first song is Living Hope. And it's just, I was like, what is going on? That's kind of like when God started showing up so powerful.
In your guys' relationship, you started to see his fingerprints on the relationship.
Yes.
Incredible.
And I remember like when that song came on, I was crying at that church in Portland. And she knows what that song means to me. So she knew immediately. I didn't have to even explain it to her. So our first date was in March. I start seeing God a couple months in our relationship after. And I remember I wrote this down. This is crazy. July 16th, I'm hanging out with Daniel and Yuting. Shout out to Daniel.
Daniel.
Yuting and Nathaniel at the beach.
All right. Okay.
Carol's there, and we're just having a beach day.
Shout out to the Wang family.
Yes, love them. Really love them. And I was when Yuting was talking to Carol, I took Daniel aside and I was like, talking about marriage for the first time. I mentioned the word marriage and started thinking about marriage. And then literally that was Saturday. Literally the next day, Sunday, during teardown, I will never forget this. We're only dating for a few months at this point. During teardown, I'm rolling carpets. And Chris.
Ray is a professional carpet roller, ladies and gentlemen. He will outroll anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened? So Chris shows up.
So Chris, like, I'm rolling carpets. I'm in the zone. I'm just trying to tear things down and put things away. Chris comes up to me and randomly he's like, invite me to the wedding.
Let's go.
I remember like
Pastor Chris is a prophet.
Oh yeah, no, seriously. Like this is one of many like these types of interactions.
Love it.
It's honestly crazy. And I just remember it just hit me. So that was Saturday, talking to Daniel Wang about marriage, just about marriage, not marrying Carol because it's too early. It's crazy to talk those words at this point. Chris comes and talks to me the next day, randomly. Hey, invite me to the wedding. Monday, I'm hiking with Will, who is like a older brother to me. And I'm talking to him about Egypt because that summer I'm going to go for 3.5 weeks to Egypt without Carol. So, and I'm a little guilt tripped. I feel a little bad because I'm going. We just started a relationship. I'm going 3 weeks.
Right.
See ya. I'll see you when I get back. And then just in conversation on a hike, like two dudes talking on a hike, like, I'm going to Egypt for 3.5 weeks. He's like, is Carol going with you? I was like, no, absolutely not. That's horrible.
Right.
It's a boys' trip. But anyway, I was like, you know what? She absolutely loves France. I absolutely hate France.
That's French.
Yeah, just like any good American, have to give them the little a little hard time. Yeah. But she loves it. She took French in high school.
Oh,
she
wow.
absolutely loves.
She can speak it.
She could speak it.
Whoa.
To a degree.
Whoa.
She pretends she can't, but she can speak. She understands.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
So I was telling him, maybe I'll take her to France after this because, I'm going to Egypt for 3.5 weeks. Maybe we'll throw in a France trip.
Yeah.
Later that night, I'm listening to a sermon by Levi Lusko that he preached on Sunday, just yesterday. And that sermon title, it was on marriage. His sermon title was The Secret to a Fruitful Marriage.
Wow.
And he talked about this wine cellar in Paris that has wine that survived the World War II.
Really?
Yeah. And it's, I remember and I was like, okay, I just said that as a joke, kind of like on a hike. And here, again, this theme of marriage is coming up now. A few months into me dating this girl I haven't met before March of this year. And here it is. Like, here are the signs. And then I go to Egypt. I just kind of just pocket that away. But in my mind, I was like, maybe I really do need to take her to France. So then I go to Egypt. It's incredible. I go to incredible experiences.
Yes.
Not really like Egypt, but that's another.
Yeah. It's amazing place of history, but the hospitality is not at a very high level.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it was a very big milestone.
Yes.
And part of so I remember when you did the Genesis series at Legacy, however many years ago that was, and it was literally a page or a chapter every however far we got. So after we finished the Genesis series, I just kept going. So my daily devotion is I just read a page of the Bible every day. So I just keep going. And at the time, I was finishing Joshua, which is why the first verse is in Joshua.
Right.
And I had just finished Judges at this time after I got back from Egypt. And this theme of remembrance was very strong. Again, with Joshua, building stones, like he would build memorials all the time to remember God. And his point was so that people of Israel would not forget. The very next book is Judges, which is what happens to a nation when they forget God.
Totally.
So, I mean, remembrance is a big theme.
Yes.
And then this is crazy. So this is where God really starts showing up in our relationship.
Okay.
I finished Judges. I'm thinking about remembrance, thinking about our relationship. October 2nd, sermon number 81 through the book of Matthew.
Let's go.
We spent about 3 years in Matthew.
Was it 3 years?
I don't remember.
Unbelievable, man. That was it's the longest. It's the longest gospel. And I combed through Genesis, and so I said, you know what? I'm going to come through the first book of the New Testament, Matthew.
So good. I mean, again, 81 sermons through the book of Matthew, and October 2nd is when that sermon was. You preached Jeremiah 33:3, which is ask me, and I will tell you remarkable secrets you do not know of things to come. And then you said in the sermon, I remember it so specifically, you said, do you want to know God's number? Like, this is the number you call.
His phone number.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, God's phone number. Jeremiah 333.
Yes.
333.
Yes. So.
Yeah, call unto me, and I will show you great mighty things that you do not know.
Yes. And again, And that was the week, that was communion. So again, remembering what Christ did, all of these things. And it's just like hitting me like a wave. And then the very next Monday or Tuesday, like October 4th, like, so what we do during the week so we're hungry for like gospel sermons. So like after Monday, Tuesday, we listen to other sermons from Harvest, from Levi Lusko, Fresh Life, the Stoke House podcast on Wednesday. So like
Levi,
like so we're listening October 4th, that very next week, after you preach on Jeremiah 33:3 and say, you want God's number? Here it is, right here. Tuesday of that week, which is, they preached it on Sunday. The church that Carol came from is called Verve City Church. During their worship service that Sunday, they played two songs, Firm Foundation and Living Hope. Her song and my song.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she's listening to that. I'm listening to Harvest on Monday, Tuesday. Their worship song, Build My Life and Goodness of God.
Really?
Her song, my song.
Wow.
These songs mean so much to both of us.
Wow.
So the churches that we were going to before Legacy, like, plays our songs exactly the same. Right. And then both their sermons, this is October.
Wow.
Both their sermons, Ephesians 5:21 through 33.
Both of them.
Both of them. Not completely, they don't even know each other exist, probably. Like,
unbelievable.
Love and respect. Pastor Greg preached on love and respect.
Let's go.
Like, and her pastor at her church preached on that same
love and respect marriage.
Love and respect. So, like, I'm like, okay, remembrance theme. God's showing up powerfully here.
So cool.
After you say, you want to know God's number? Like, I'm questioning, is this like the girl that I'm supposed to marry?
Wow.
Talking to Daniel Wang about marriage. Wow. Like, what does it mean to be a husband that follows God and leads a family? Like, and here it is, like, Wednesday. So again, taking you through the timeline here. That day, October 5th, that Wednesday, Bible study, like, right? Legacy Bible study here. My meetings, my morning meetings get canceled. So I have extra time to do devotions. And I'm thinking about the sermon on Sunday, and I literally pray. And I specifically ask God. I've never been this specific before. I was like, God, is Carol the one that you made for me?
Whoa.
Should I marry? I like a yes or no question. Like, should I marry Carol?
Oh, I love it.
Like, is this the one?
Yeah.
In October, like October 5th. And then I just go about my day, busy as ever. And then I get to Bible study late. It's 7:13. I have a picture of the text message Carol sent me at 7:17 p.m. She says, praying Jeremiah 33:3 over you. I walk in, worship is already happening. The song that's playing is Build My Life. I mean, of
course.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right, God, I just prayed this in the morning. All of that snaps into focus. The guy standing right in front of me has a shirt that says, I have a picture of it, built on a solid foundation.
Yeah.
Like, here's the picture of I took a picture of the guy. I don't know who he is, but that shirt right there says built on a solid foundation.
Wow.
And he was literally standing in front of me, and I didn't see him until after the Build My Life worship song.
Wow.
And it just leveled me.
Wow. I love it. That's so cool, Ray.
I mean, it's crazy. And that song has a very deep meaning to me. The next week, I call Jason. Or actually, no, I don't call Jason. Jason calls me. He's a prophet. I think God speaks to me so like, again, it's long since I've worked with him. So he calls me October 7th.
Out of the
Friday,
blue.
Out of the blue. He's actually at a men's conference where they take your phone away. And I know that. So, like, he should not have a phone, let alone be calling me. And he's calling me just to just because he's thinking about me and wanted to check in on me. And here I am with just all these themes of remembrance of God showing up. I'm asking God if Carol's the one to marry, and he calls me, and he's just checking in on me. Doesn't know that right before he calls me on Friday, I'm talking to my sister saying, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm about to propose to Carol because I'm getting all these signs. And then right when I hang up with him is when Jason calls me. It's just checking in on me again, which is amazing timing. And at the end, he texts me, fleece equals wet. And the reason why that's so powerful is, again, I just finished reading Judges. One of the judges, Gideon, did not trust in God. So he would test God by saying, okay, God, if you're real, I'm going to put a fleece down on this floor. I want you to wet everything in here and keep the fleece dry.
Right.
It's exactly what happens.
Right.
And then he's like, okay, no. Now, God, if you're real, like I want the fleece to be wet and everything else to be dry.
Right.
So he tests God twice and God delivers. And that's how Gideon knows God is real. Jason doesn't know that. Like I told him hey, I'm thinking about, marrying Carol. And like, again, we hang up, we have this conversation and he texts me, fleece equals wet. What?
That's crazy.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That Sunday. Okay. So we started with, you started this whole domino effect with the Jeremiah, God's number, and I called on Monday. He gave me God's number on Sunday. I called on Monday. God's been showing up.
He's got it on speed dial.
Sunday. Okay. We went through 81 weeks, as you know, of Matthew. But that Sunday, October 9th, we should have been on sermon number 82. But because it was Legacy's 8-year celebration, you did a special topic. Sermon title, Risking It All for Christ. Oh, my goodness. You opened that sermon asking a question. You asked the church, you ever ask God, is that you? That's what you opened with.
What?
With that call. Again, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what I've been.
Actually,
yes.
Yes, I have this week.
Yes.
That's me.
And
wow.
I'll never forget, at the end of that sermon, you said, go for it. Take a risk, walk in faith.
Wow.
Then you'll be able to say, Jeremiah 32:8, then I knew it was from the Lord. Oh, man, that was it. Bottom line, confirmation.
Then I knew it was the Lord.
Then I knew it was from the Lord. 7 months to the day, October 9th. My first, it was March 9th at Legacy Bible Study where you said, 8 months you'll know.
Whoa.
Married within 2. 7 months to that day.
Crazy.
When it was confirmed.
Wow.
That I should propose to Carol.
Wow.
Married within a year and 3 months.
Wow.
From our first date.
Unbelievable, Ray. I love it. It's like the Lord literally he trapped you in with all the details. He's like, you want to see? You want to see? You want to know?
Oh, yeah.
And I can see in Ray's mind, he's got it,
oh, yeah.
If Ray has tendency to want to control, he has to be trapped by the fingerprints of God. It's like, he's like, you want to see? I'll just start chipping away on all corners until I get you. It's like,
oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jason, what I forgot to mention is Jason also, during the call, he said, don't be a doubting Thomas.
I love it.
That's what I am. I just I question God. I was like, God, is that really you? No, I can show me again. I'm Gideon. Okay, you did this miracle that I asked you specifically about. Now do this. And it's just constantly, and God's gracious enough to continue showing up in my life. And
you found your Eve.
Oh my goodness. Praise
found
God.
Your Eve.
I could not have better planned it. I did not plan it. God created Carol specifically for me and has blessed us and confirmed in me. And I barely even touched the page.
Yes.
This is the first.
Right.
This page is full of God's miracles.
Wow. I love that you're documenting it.
And it's going to be a story and forever archived here.
Yes.
You know,
you give to your children and your children's children, Ray, in Jesus' name.
This year has been, you know, it's been crazy because the fires has happened. And, you know, we always get this hypothetical question where your house is burning down. You can only grab one thing. What are you grabbing? Well, I got that call because we live in Altadena and we live, you know, Eaton Canyon is in our backyard. So I literally got that call. I see the fires. What do you need me to grab? And I told him, grab our box of all the documents and this adventure book.
Yes,
so Ray. This is the thing that,
wow.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
And by the grace of God, your house did not burn down.
Yeah. Again, like all these coincidences.
But the fire showed up.
I mean,
on your back door.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
God put a fireman
on your street.
Not just on our street. Our next door neighbor is an older couple, and their son is a fireman who just happened to be visiting his parents that day, who just so happened to stay and fight the fires all night. And houses all around us burned down, school down the street burned down. The reason I believe that our house and the houses on our street did not burn down is because of this man, Brian, and his efforts all night.
Praise God, man.
It's incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Let's go.
God is so good.
I'm stoked, man.
So good.
And, you know, Ray, you're it's cool because your stories, it is inspiring, you know, and it makes us want to journal and it makes us want to write down. It makes us want to remember and never forget. Because we all know that God has blessed us so much.
Yes.
And we just forget how much.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible really is. It's just this giant story of how God blesses people in the midst of all their failures, all their mess ups. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's opening people's minds to realizing that you may not be able to see that God is moving because you're not really looking for his movement. You're not really looking to see what he's up to in each and every day. And it's the whole give me eyes to see, give me ears to hear. Like I want to see what you're doing. I want to hear what you're saying every single day. I don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful perspective.
Yeah.
You can either look through man's eyes and see all the destruction and brokenness and failure and messed up this and all these things. Or you can look through God's eyes in my day and see, wow, is he up to something or what?
Yes.
And you're a treasure, Ray. You really are, brother. I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, I've loved Legacy, the people around that I've been connected with, the opportunity that, and thank you for, you know, someone said this at one of your early podcasts where they're like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve, because that's where my heart was when I joined Legacy. It's like, I don't care what it is. Like, I just want to be here and help and be part of this thing that I'm committing to. And it's been so crazy. Like God's been all over like you and the people at Legacy. And I'm just so honored and inspired to be a part of that. So
thank you, Ray. Legacy doesn't work without brothers like you, man. And we got an incredible community and an amazing family. Just beautiful people. And I didn't know these people existed in LA. I had no clue. People want to study God's word and they want to run together and serve together. And you guys are making life beautiful for me. So love you and Carol, brother. Really thankful for you guys both. And I guess to many more years, man, of God's fingerprints and breadcrumbs in Jesus' name.
Cheers.
Cheers. Amen. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show today. We really appreciate you. And it would mean the world to us if you would like or subscribe and you would write an honest review for us. It's one of the fastest ways to get the word out for us and to share it with others. And so if you don't like texting for a review, you can always voice to text. That's a fast way to write one and really help us rate the show and get it out to the world. Thank you so much for listening again. We hope it continues to bless you and encourage you each and every week. And of course, leave you stoked.